Back like we never left. WARR Media 10th anniversary show here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Kyle Means. I am I've given myself many titles over the years, but I guess right now I am the executive editor. We have our good friends, our good colleagues, our co-founders of WARR Radio, Demonze Spruiel, and flanking me, Demonze Spruiel and Ken Davis. You may know him as D and Davis. We had our show for several years that we did. That was the cornerstone of WARR Media, of WARR Radio. 10 years ago, we and a couple other gentlemen saw
a friend of mine.
Tell me to say some MC rhymes. I have to say the rhyme is rough, and then it went this way. But us, Saul, Terry, and Joe Tanksley, we came together and we formed WARR Radio out of a previous endeavor, and I want you to talk about that too, D.
Oh, for sure.
But we formed that 10 years ago this year, and we're celebrating that today. We're celebrating that. We're celebrating our victories. We're celebrating just still being here, and just our brothership, our kinship that we formed over this time is something that's if it's special to nobody else. It's special to us, and we just wanted to put this on record and have some fun on this Saturday. There's also another reason that I will be bringing up a little later as far as the timing of doing this show. But me and D were planning to do this anyway because, like I said, the 10-year commemoration and all that. And, I'm really proud of what we've done as a group and what all of us are doing as individuals. At some level, we've made an impact in this industry and in Chicago that didn't, it's something that we really can't take for granted because we basically made something out of nothing.
I take it for granted all the time.
Yeah.
Take it for granted yesterday.
Well, you doing it, man. So you can sometimes that happens. You can afford to when you making it, but we gotta pull you back sometimes. But you've been a big success of anyone.
Yeah.
And Tony over here has been a big success.
Josh is definitely doing his thing.
Been a success. D was able to retire. He did it.
That's how much bread we was getting. So much bread, he was like, I got enough.
I'm just building bookshelves and laying concrete and stuff. That's what I do.
And I'm doing some things now.
Yes, you are, cuzzo.
And again, I will talk about that in a little bit. But
all the stuff that Saul does.
Saul's the man.
Is basically he's basically the motor of WARR Media
Absolutely.
now.
On Spotify and shit. Like, damn, I'm on Spotify now? You came a long way from Blog Talk Radio.
You're at Times Square, too. You just haven't seen it.
Well, we've been on Spotify, though.
I'm just saying, though.
I think he was talking about the video because Joe was telling me that, like, somebody said, "Oh, Joe, I see the video
Yeah,
also on
yeah,
Spotify."
my
I guess a
guy.
lot of people didn't know that.
Yeah.
We've taken advantage of that. But like I said, Saul is basically Saul. I call him Saul. He never corrects me. Saul.
Yeah. There you go.
He's been a godsend over the past year and a half now.
Yeah.
And he's really kept up what we're doing in the present and going forward in the future. Like I said, we've been there 10 years. A lot of outlets with money and a lot of shit going for them haven't been around for 10 years.
Very true.
And we've been able to keep it going. And like I said, that's why I wanted to celebrate this, and I'm so happy and appreciative that you guys have come here today. But let's go around. But before we start, like I say, getting into our stories, so let's go around and let everybody know who's here. We'll start over here with Slick.
Jay Smooth.
Jay Smooth, yeah.
Oh man, Josh Hicks been here for since 2015.
Okay.
I want to say it was 2015. Yes, that's when we met. 2015, man. I was doing an internship for the Jerry Riles, the Rewind Sports 60, man, and met Demonze there. He was doing the production scenes. Dude was doing a wizard doing what he was doing, and he was like, "Hey man, what you doing here?" And I said, "I'm an intern at Roosevelt University." Obviously, shout out to my guy Saul Rodriguez. What's up? Are you
Lakers?
Are you Laker Nation, baby? But he asked what I was doing. I told him I was interning. I'm in sports journalism, writing, all those type of things. And I was doing writing at my school newspaper at the time. And he was like, you know, we are ready to my cousin. You know, we got this group together. You should write for us. And I was like, okay, let me think about it and everything. You know, as slick as D was, getting the card, gave the card and everything. Yeah, come on, I got you. We down the state. We got our show. Yeah, you gave me the
Cards. I got still in the draw.
Yeah, man, you gave me the card, and you said, yo, me and my guy Kim, we got a show downtown, which was right across the street from my dorm building. Yeah. So because of that, he was like, yeah, one of these weekends when you're not busy, come on down to State Street. Let's get this thing happening. So I went down there one weekend, was on your D and Davis show, and we've pretty much been stuck ever since, man. So yeah 2015 since I've been around, but it's been a lot of it's really been a blessing. You guys gave me my first start to really get out there in the professional realm. You know, a lot of different things materialized from that time, from column writing, podcasting, having my own show, you know, all that stuff. Like we really took a lot of different turns with that, but a lot of positivity, a lot of growth, a lot of experiences, a lot of exposure that really took things to the next level for not just WARR Media, but specifically even my career, learning from the likes of you all. So, yeah, man, it's been a blessing, and I'm glad to still be here, continue to roll into giving back and helping out in all the ways possible. And, you know, it's always, you know, great to be part of the family. So,
yeah, Josh was key, too, in regards, we talk about how we was able to keep up and keep this thing going. Like,
absolutely,
where it wasn't just me feeding into the website and whatever, and doing stuff on the daily. Like Josh really added to that as much as anyone, and like I said, we wouldn't be still going if it wasn't for Josh. So we definitely appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, man. 2015, man. I feel like a proud journalist pop over here.
Right? How old were you then?
Oh man, I was.
Yeah, how old were you?
20.
You was 20?
I was 20.
Yeah.
Oh, Demonze mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah, I was 20, man. I was 20 when y'all recruited me.
Yeah, you babies, man.
You couldn't even drink, man. I really couldn't. Yeah. Oh, you did. You did, and I happily accepted it. I ain't gonna lie, I happily accepted it. But yeah.
I kind of figured I probably gave some drinks.
D, you should probably talk about the origins. So.
Oh, okay. Demonze Spruiel here, co-founder of WARR Radio, WARR Media. The origins was, wow, this is 2000. When I had my first apartment, 2007, 2006. And Joe Tanksley, also co-founder, and you know, since still do his thing on WARR Media for Chicago Bears pod. So we were thinking about doing a radio show. He actually went to school for broadcast journalism at Butler University, I believe. And I said that, you know, I kind of wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? I remember recording my first podcast up in my mother's, in my old childhood bedroom when I was still staying with my parents. And I played it for my girlfriend, now wife, and she was like, you sound real country. And like Stephen A. Smith, but real country. I'm like, what? So but I liked it though. And we had been kind of dabbling in YouTube already. It's like a very old YouTube video. We did a tribute to Jay Dilla when he passed away. Yeah. And my guy Mike Stokes, DJ Mike Caliber's out here doing his thing on WGCI right now. We all got together. Sean Terry, co-founder of WARR Radio. We went down to Betty Blue Star. That was on Milwaukee. I think that was the name of the place. But we used to do like hip-hop joint stuff. And we recorded ourselves, and we was like, we going to put it on this thing called YouTube. We was like, all right, cool. We'll put it on YouTube. And we had like two parts. And one part was us interviewing people about Jay Dilla and outside. And then we went into a studio that was on State Street. I forgot the name of it. Long set of stairs to go up there. And Stokes produced out of there. And he did a mix. And we did a Jay Dilla mix. So that was like our first like real intro to like journalism in a sense, but music wise. But Joe, getting back to it, Joe wanted to do a sports show. And I was like, all right, cool. And so Joe was like, okay, I'll be the host, you be the producer. I'm like, all right, cool, I can do it. So I kind of produced it for him. You know what I'm saying? Because I was the one, I was like really into tech and stuff like that. So I knew somewhat about mics. My old man's a DJ for like a long time. So I knew about boards, I knew about microphones. I knew about sound. Graduated from Columbia University, so I had an ear for music. Wanted to do business, but I had an ear for music, so I understood sound. And we did it for a little bit. And
what was the name then? 'Cause it
I
was
don't
Regal-
remember. It was just Regal Radio.
No, it was something. It was like Regal Entertainment.
Yeah, we used to throw parties too.
Yeah.
We was party
As in-
promoters. Yeah, we threw parties and stuff. And we did Regal Radio. I mean, not Regal Radio. We are Regal something. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it. Regal Entertainment, I think was the name of it.
I reposted that Jay Dilla video.
Oh.
I had the name in there. I can't
Yeah.
remember though.
It was Regal Entertainment.
Y'all was like.
We did some of everything, man. Dude, we threw speed.
Janky promoted.
Yeah.
Janky promoted.
Dude, we threw speed date parties. We threw one at what's the joint next to the Family Den on Stony Island? What's the name of it? The dating game.
Yeah.
Man, we threw a speed dating party, a dating game. Somebody got together, had a baby. So it's kind of like, all right, we were.
I think people get together dating game a lot now.
Wait, we're doing a 10-year anniversary. How old's this child?
Yeah,
We need to
oh,
track him
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's before.
That kid is going to college.
Yeah, that's before 10 years.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not surprised. They're actually in the room right now.
No, hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Baby
All this time it was
that little baby
Saul.
was Saul.
All this time you got back in. So but no, we did all that. But going back to the radio thing, so we did that, and then Sean hopped in, and we had like a little sports show. And then I decided to go to broadcasting school, Connecticut School of Broadcasting, down on like Lake and LaSalle. It was for a 4-month program, night students. I had a job. I think I was married. Was I married to Chanel by then? I think we was married by then. And I used to harass her talking about sports with her like that. She's like, you need to go do something with this. Like, quit talking to me about the Sox. So I went to school, and it shut down 2 months into the program. And Connor McKnight was in, because he's still the ESPN Chicago right now. He was in the class. He was in the day class. I was in the night class. So it was kind of a few people that came up out of it, actually. And
You lied to me about somebody else that was in that class. But we won't talk about that.
it wasn't him. I didn't say him. I said I interned with him, not them.
Filthy liar.
So that shut down. I gotta admit, I was kind of depressed because I wanted to do this. I was about 26, 27 years old at the time. And then my guy Anton, who hit up Joe, was like, "Oh man, on Spotify." He was like, "Hey man, I think it's something. My guy, he does a show through his telephone." I'm like, "Through his telephone?" He's like, "Yeah, it's called Blog Talk Radio." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I checked it out, and it was like, "Oh, this is kind of dope." So we kind of moved there. Fast forward a little bit forward, me and this guy over here, Kenneth Davis, we worked together. So we were going to the break rooms and have very fierce debates about sports and shit. And people had to come in and like, y'all shut the fuck up. I got this to work. and I convinced Ken, like, hey man, we should do a radio show. I got my guys, we could do a radio show. We should do a football show. He's like, all right, cool. So we had a show. Ken and our first show was called Football Island. And we would talk about football, basically. And it was kind of weird because a couple of times, like, how long we do it, Ken? About 2 years? A year, maybe? It was like a season?
This season, you took a break from part of it.
That I had Grace? No, I had Grace by then.
Grace happened
It was before
during
that.
class. Grace happened during
In ICB, yeah.
So Grace was born between 2012.
Yeah, Mike.
2012 and 2013.
Yeah, 2012. She was born 2012.
Yeah.
So, but no, we had a football show called Football Island, and we kind of fast forward. Yeah.
We could bring Ken.
Yeah,
Let's rewind a little bit because,
Yeah.
like I said, that's about 12.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, me and Ken was doing that. This had to be like 2010.
10 or
9 or 10.
So I started working there at 08, but I got cool with Demonze in probably like the back end of 09.
09. Yeah. So it's about 2009. Now.
That's why I'm saying in 09, we did the first varsity show because I was on
Yeah,
that with y'all.
you was on there. Yeah, the varsity show. That was me, Sean, and Joe. It was called the varsity show.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I called.
You was in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I was in
Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Not
Yeah, Milwaukee for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
You was in Wisconsin. Yes, you was in Wisconsin. Yeah.
I was a reporter up in Milwaukee, quote. and I was because I guess I was the only guy y'all knew who was actually in media.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
And we talked.
Your mother called me. Was like, Kyle's up there writing in Wisconsin, like about sports. I'm like, oh shit, Cuzzo, hey, send me his phone up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got you on the show. Yeah, the varsity show.
I
Yeah.
remember that first show we talked. We mostly talked about the Lakers and the Magic. They were in the finals.
My God. Yeah.
And I think Joe had some opinion about. I remember too about talking about. I think Rodman was getting into the Hall of Fame that year,
Okay.
and I think Sean jumped off. It was like Rodman's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh,
We all
God.
loved that.
I love Sean, but Sean got some hot takes, boy. Sean Terry got some hot takes. I love him though, man.
Yeah, but that was
That's
that
my
was
brother.
that was the first. That was the beginning on Blog Talk Radio, and then
Yeah.
like you said, you and Ken got together,
Mhm.
Decision,
Yep.
and y'all took it to.
Was it Bacon's then still?
Never worked. I would never work.
Okay, you didn't work at Bacon's. It was Bacon's when I worked there. Then it moved Decision. Yeah.
Y'all took it to the school. Y'all developed, and y'all.
Yeah, I convinced him. Ken didn't want to go to school. He didn't want to do it at first.
I don't think I would have went, particularly at that moment, if he wasn't going there.
Yeah. I was like, come on, Ken, we can do it.
Yeah, because I never really asked you this. Like, what was your mind state at that time? You were obviously into sports, and you could talk with anyone. But did you have any thought about doing it professionally?
My father had told me that that's what I should do, and I laughed at him and said, "I'm the topic. I don't talk about the topics arrogantly."
See, and this is what I was debating with in the lunchroom. He's like, man, you know what? I played football. You know, my knees. I had hopped over gates and shit. I'm like, Ken,
They supposed to be covering me.
yeah, I know, right? But that's what made it great, though.
Listen, I should have listened because I would have money now. So a friend, a guy that we work with, Mehdi, had
Mehdi.
on what was it? InstaChat? What's that? The Insta message? What was it?
Like a internal instant message.
Yeah, it's a message.
Yeah.
So him and Demonze would go back and forth. He just added me to their chat. And then the first was like, okay. I was like, what's up with this dude or whatever. And Mehdi would leave. And the second time Mehdi left, and it was just me and Demonze kind of clicked more at that time. And like I said, he went to the one school that closed. He was going to go again. And he was like, Ken, you should go. And I thought about it. I don't know. I thought about it for a minute. It wasn't just right away. And because you got to think the amount of money you're committing to something. And at this point, you got to think, so if he's 27, I'm 30. And Kenton was 2 going on 3 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about going to a class, we taking night classes.
Yep.
And they had to keep you in there. It's not like you can go in there for an hour and leave. You got to be in there for 3.5 hours or something like that. And then we had to do internships.
Yep.
So we were, and also we weren't. I mean, sometimes I could just. Sometimes I didn't even go, and D would pull me up and be like, "Wait, why you?"
And
not?
weren't you working like 2 jobs?
Yeah, because my internship turned into a job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, because at one point I wasn't even how the internship was to turn into a job. It was a company that was coming off the ground. I thought maybe become billions and millions, and I was thinking about being the secretary or whoever that get that stock. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
On the ground
I'm
floor.
good.
Ground
I got
floor,
the
yeah.
floor. So then, of course, but me and D, the thing was we would really work in class.
Yeah,
So
we grind,
It was a
man.
lot of people. We had a very talented room. Let me say that for one. But a lot of times because we had younger people in there, and they were just kind of coming out of school. It was a lot of the same stuff where I went to Catholic school, so it doesn't take 10, 15 minutes to calm the class down in Catholic school. Where we were sitting there, man, you're in this class for hours. It may take 30 minutes damn near to get these kids to chill
Everybody
the fuck out.
joking around, whatever
Talking,
like that.
cracking, whatever. So it got
Yeah.
to the point once we knew that what's the assignment. Like I would say about 4 months, because initially me and D didn't even sit together, but we would still work together. But it was just so we wasn't like this is we're together, right? But once we got to the point where we could go work. As soon as a class, they would be like 15 minutes in, go do your assignment. People still on something. We would go to a studio and start. That's really where the show started.
Yeah.
When we just started cranking like we were doing the show.
Yep.
Up in the studio. That first studio, if y'all coming out that back room, that's straight across by the back offices or whatever. That was kind of our main studio if we can get that studio. And then, lucky enough, D being D and going for it, D was like, man, I'm going to get us a show on the school network.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna give it. He kept saying this for about a month and a half, and I would say we graduated was October is when we graduated.
October.
So we got that show in the summertime, I believe. We had the show for about
Yeah,
3
we had the show when we were still in class.
Yeah, we had the show.
Yeah.
So we're still in class. We had
Yep.
the show in the summertime. I say the latest we got the show was August. I feel like so we made it got it in August, and then we graduated in October or whatever. And that's where it began. And then. I think the thing that we were fortunate because we were trash, and you gotta get reps.
Yeah, we were.
Reps.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah,
get
we were.
reps, You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And then we were lucky enough where Sydney came, then you
Sydney
came,
Brown.
and that allowed us to get better guests. It
Yep.
allowed us more structure.
Yep.
Fortunately, Tony came, and that just took us to a whole nother level.
Was Tony you our first intern?
No, he
Yeah,
was definitely
he-
wasn't.
Was Jason?
Jason?
No,
No,
Jason,
no, no,
what's his
no,
name?
no.
He wasn't our first. What's his name was our first intern?
Miguel, not
No, it
Miguel.
wasn't Miguel. It was. I still follow him on Facebook.
Yeah, he does real estate now.
Yes, he does.
Oh, I can't think of his name.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
He was the first soul. No, just but he was a
then we
Latino
had-
cat.
then we
Yeah,
had-
he was a good dude.
We had another. We had the former the veteran that lived in
Oh
Indiana.
yeah. Oh, the black guy. I can't think of his name.
No, it was another.
Was he a postal? He was a postal
Yes,
worker.
yes,
Yeah.
another Latin brother.
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
We had.
Damn, I feel bad. I can't remember their name.
Yeah,
their
we
names.
had Showtime was up in there.
Oh yeah.
I seen Kevin.
Kevin?
I bought something from Kevin like 2.5 months ago.
Damn, how
He
many
was on
interns do
Stony
we
Island,
have?
And I pulled up on him. He didn't expect me to pull up. When he was on Facebook, I said, and I looked for him. I said, I seen you over here, so I got like some Mother's Day stuff from him.
Okay,
whatever.
all right.
He was over there selling. And then we were fortunate enough, of course, to get Tony. And at that time, Kyle, ambitious Kyle was looking to do other stuff, and I was already like, "Yo, just let Tony be the producer." Right? Tony
Yeah.
started working at the store, and it was like,
Yeah.
it makes sense to just let.
And Tony was a radio. He was a production guy. I was more of like a talent guy.
Yeah, that's why I was.
'Cause
That's why I was trying to move you out the way.
Yeah.
Wait,
right,
but
right.
So
well, hold on, real quick. Tony, did you know how to run the board before you came down there, or did we show you how to run the
No,
board?
I think y'all did. Y'all. Well, that board
I
specifically.
showed about it.
Well,
That board
means
specifically, or board in general.
no, that board specific.
Oh yeah, that
You
board
never ran the
specifically,
board
yeah.
like I ran.
Oh wait a minute, hold on. So as Ken said, I like badgered the school, the PDs, if you want to say, down there to get a show, and I can't remember the first dude name, but I know Brendan McCaffrey, a guy down in 670 to score, who I interned for because I get an intern down
Shout
in
out to
670.
Brendan.
Shout out to Brendan. I got an intern down at the score, and he had a show down there because he went there. And he was like, "Hey man, whenever you come on down, just come on down, and I'll be down there like waiting outside early in the morning until Brendan comes." He's like, "Man, you down here already?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down here. Like I want to work." So that's why I would say Brendan really he was the main guy that kind of really tell me that kind of tell me like you can do this. You know, besides him, maybe Ernie Scanton. You know what I'm saying? Somebody teaches
Shout out
down
to
there.
Ernie Scanton.
Ernie
Big
Scanton.
time Ernie Scanton.
Send out to Ernie Scanton.
Devontae Stone.
Stone. Gill Urchek.
Jill
I
Urchet.
saw
That was out-
Devontae like last week.
Who don't see the
the first
Devontae
time-
in the streets, man?
that's the first time I've seen him in, like,
Devontae still
6-7
doing his thing.
years.
Yeah, Devontae still doing his thing. But yeah, go ahead.
What's the name that was running the station? Does softball.
Peter Ferrari.
Oh, Peter Ferrari. Yeah, yes.
And Evan Mack. Shout out
Evan
to-
Mack,
shout out to
Adam
Evan.
Abdallah. He was also the PD down there for a time too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to get in contact with him.
Gotta talk about both Kevin, rest in peace, and then Demonze, different
Yeah,
directions, because
yeah.
they were the ones that were there at the desk when everything was in disarray. And I don't think your show would have kept going. My show would have started if it wouldn't been for the PDs that were there at that point in time. Like, yeah, Adam Abdullah was doing like the over-the-top thing,
Yeah.
but day-to-day operations.
That
it
was all them?
It was
Illinois-
Jedrian as well was at that point in time was a PD.
Where were you? Where were you at?
This
I
is-
didn't get. I wasn't around.
Jason Kaestner, everybody
I
else.
wasn't around Demonze as often as you guys were around Demonze. I feel I missed out. When were he? What? Because I thought Demonze was at the other building.
But Sal, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, he ran the other radio station, but he was still at the desk, you know, letting people in the door on State Street.
Okay.
And it was just like whatever.
He wasn't there when we
shifts
was trying to
people
get in
had.
there.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't. He wasn't there when we were trying to get in
Yeah,
there.
I don't-
We'll be outside
No,
trying.
you think Demonze was going to be there Saturday morning?
Hey man,
That's not
listen,
his
I
shift.
wish Demonze was there. Shout out to Demonze too. Yeah, man, he's doing his
great
thing.
things, great
Huge
things.
thing. But wait a minute, real
That's why,
quick.
but I would say that's why I wanted to get into right quick. The
Yeah,
talent.
I'm sorry.
That was there at that time.
Illinois
We
School
started,
Broadcasting.
Because
Yeah.
we like,
Illinois Center for Broadcasting.
JP was doing the show.
Jared Payton was doing the
Payton
school.
was doing the show.
Yeah, he was doing the show.
Bang and
Bang.
Jay Washington.
were doing their show.
Yeah.
Like
Sean Davis.
Sean Davis.
Sean Davis, yup.
I don't know if it was relevant for you guys, but definitely for me, and I think for
Jack
Tony as well.
Silverstein.
But
Yep.
Trey the Chalk the Jock, before
Yeah,
he
Trey
went
was
down
down
to
there.
Killeen, he was a big part of me actually getting through that process of like, you know,
Always supportive.
folks not settling down in class and being a little bit older and being impatient for
Yeah.
let's be serious about this. He sort of pulled me aside and was like, don't let the distractions get in the way.
Yeah.
And that, along with meeting this room of where the people is what got me through ICB. And then this ongoing relationship is kind of what got me through the last decade. I didn't realize I was as close to the origin of We Are Regal Radio, even though the true origin goes back way further, like you were saying.
I mean, it's just kind of sort of testament
Did
of
Signy get a stock
everybody.
share in this one, or y'all keeping him out of this new money transition too?
Who you talking about?
If he came around, he could get some.
He could. He could.
I fought for you, Sidney.
Sidney Brown, where your ass at?
Also, if we're talking about interns for the past,
Sidney though.
Sidney was a huge part.
Sidney was the first
Huge
person.
part.
Sidney was the first person to write on our website as it was.
Yeah. Yep.
Outside of me, he was the first person to write because he wrote on the Hawks, and that
Yeah.
was the Hawks were a big thing back then. So
They was winning
we
championships,
needed
Stanley Cups.
We needed someone to cover the Hawks.
Diversify
playoffs.
the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we needed someone to work, and I asked D like, somebody who was interested in hockey. And
Yeah, Sidney. I've known Sidney since 1995. We went to high school together, Brother Rice. So I've known this cat forever, and then we kind of bumped back into each other through my guy Mike, and he was like, "Man, I saw Sidney outside one day. He had his hockey jersey on. I'm like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, Demonze is doing radio, whatever." Yeah,
the only brother in Oklahoma.
only brother over run around.
Blackhawks jersey.
He knows hockey more. I mean, he's like a savant with it, and I'm like, "Hey, come on down." But no, man, the school was a. I think that school, Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Yeah, Illinois Center for Broadcasting, right? That was really a hotbed of talent come out of that school. I wish they would have kind of like cultivated it a little bit more. That station that we was on going through the school had a lot of talent come through that school. I wish they would have kind of, like I said before, cultivated. It could have been something. It could have been like a really cool college station in the city. How much talent came out of there? You look at it now. Like going back to trying to get in the show. I taught myself how to run the board. Like, we had no idea. And I'm like, I'm going to figure it out, Ken. And Ken would be over there. He would look at me. "You got it, D?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got it. And I figured it out some kind of way, and we was on air. And sometimes we wasn't on air. We do a whole show. We was like, "Man, we not live?" It was like, "No, it's not live." But we'll figure it out.
Sean Hiking got, or when the phone lines weren't working.
Oh, my God. The phone lines wouldn't work.
Sean Hiking
that
now
echo.
was like, "You guys are good, but don't call me with that." I understand, Sean.
So many
some
people,
misadventure.
came through that, and we had so many.
Are we on right now?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
think we broadcast. No, we broadcast. No, y'all not broadcast.
We had, I would mess with the video cameras, make sure we was online because you could stream, you could watch the show too. So we grind and did a lot for that
Sidney be at
station.
that computer, and we had to be. Hold on now.
But this one I wanted to bring up too. I just because we was talking about the hours. We would come in. Wasn't at one point we was doing the show like at 9 in the morning?
No, it's from 10 to.
First we started on Sunday.
Yeah, we started Sundays.
We started on Sundays.
We started Sundays first.
And then we took somebody's hours.
Yeah, we did.
He was like, "Y'all not using these."
Yeah, we
We're
did.
gonna take these hours.
Yeah, we took somebody's show.
Somebody's show because they was messing around.
Yeah, they wasn't serious, man. We
were
was
there
serious,
every-
man.
We were there. D was smart enough to take breaks. I was gonna be there. If we was gonna be there,
I would take breaks.
I was gonna be there.
I'd take breaks.
And real quick, and then
I'll see y'all in 3 weeks.
I just want to I want to give shout outs to two people that helped us tremendously. Christopher Sosa with the
Yes.
Red Eye.
Yes.
Yep.
Put us in the
Big
Red
time.
Eye.
5 on 5.
And also Larry Howley at WGN.
Yes, Larry Howley.
Yeah.
Shout out to Larry.
Did a lot for all of us. I always want to let them know that we always appreciate them because they
Absolutely.
give us the opportunity to
Absolutely.
us. So shout out to
Thank
those
you,
two
King,
gentlemen
for
for always
mentioning
looking
that,
out for us.
Yes.
Yeah, and those are people who really believed in us and saw that we had talent to be on those platforms, and that's meaningful because like I said, I'm gonna keep it positive, but I think
We took that Red Eye stuff to another level.
yeah,
Man,
we
the
was- we
videos
was
that we
doing-
used to do.
we went in on it.
Man, we used to have fun.
When they went to the video, because at first it was just paper.
It was just
right?
paper.
It was just print. But
Yeah.
Then they went to video, and we went in on that video.
And-
we did like say the cuts and stuff when I was working Decision at that point. And
Tony was intern, and we got Tony to be in one of the videos.
Tony was intern at the score. And
Yeah.
we gonna get to Tony in a minute because talk about his story, but. Yeah, that was a great time. Just being able to do that stuff. And
It was a
have
fun
that
time.
Platform. I wish the Red Eye was. That's another platform that we sort of missing.
Like
in the
CLTV.
city. Yeah, CLTV.
Hey, shout out to Josh
so many
Fryman.
opportunities that just aren't there anymore.
Josh
Yeah.
Fryman, Jerry Payne.
Yeah, Jared Payton, Josh Fryman, man, them guys really had us, locked us down. I think 4 of us, 5 of us have been on that show.
I'm
at
the
least.
only one who went on the show.
Well, you been up there with us though.
I was up there.
Yeah, you was up there with us.
So
you
so
weren't the
you-
only one.
You would have been on
I
there.
wasn't on
So
there either.
Yeah.
you would have been on there.
You went
so.
on there,
You
yeah.
went on there.
We all was interviewed on there on CLTV. Shout out to
Sports Feed.
Afira too and Courtney Hall down there.
Afia.
I said
Afia,
Afia.
Afia.
I'm sorry.
Osu,
I used to say,
Courtney
"What up,
Hall.
AO?" Yeah. Shout out to them, man. They held us down to really good. Going over to WTIU, the Jam. We was on the Jam, all the three of us.
Julie Lawrence.
Julie Lawrence, yeah.
Herb, Mitch Rosen,
Mitch Rosen, yeah.
Shane.
Hood, Jay Hood for sure.
Yeah, Jay Hood.
Hoodie.
Jay Hood did a
Jay Hood.
Jay Hood did a Q&A with us, and he brought us into the studio.
Oh,
at
wow, that was a
ESPN.
while ago.
Yeah. And that was real early.
Real
I
early.
think that was in 2013.
That was at the old studio they had upstairs.
Yeah.
It wasn't even downstairs on State Street.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hood,
man,
is
I forgot.
Hood has always looked out for us.
Oh,
since-
definitely.
Love J Hood, man. Love J Hood.
Great words of encouragement.
Yes. Yes.
I remember doing a overnight at the school, and him hit me up the next day, and it was like, well, maybe we are doing something right.
Yeah.
And it was like, cause man, shout out to Mitch Rose. Again, that's coming all through Tony, and us going for it after the school kicked us off the air.
Yep.
Told us to go out
Yep.
to Lombard, and we was like, I think we may have to do something else.
Right,
But yeah,
right.
shout out to Mitch Rosen
Shout out
for
to Mitch.
one, allowing us to use the score to do our show. Also, shout out to Danny Parkins too. Danny
Mm-hmm.
Parkins held us on, and also.
He appeared on with y'all.
Yeah.
Lawrence-
Yeah,
Jason
Lawrence.
Goff.
Jason
Jason Goff.
Yeah.
On with
Jason
us.
Goff.
Look,
Jason,
it's
yeah.
I don't want to leave anybody out. I want to really shout out to all the producers down at 6-7 in the score.
Yes.
The ones that worked on our shows when we were on the air, but even the guys when we were recording our content, like Chris Dickens. Again, I said I
the
wasn't
chef.
Mike. Like it's so many different people that
Mm-hmm.
helped us out. I mentioned Shane already, but it was always
Yeah,
nice
Shane.
to us, helping us set up anything when Tony couldn't be there, and just helping us
Yep.
set up and do everything. We had the run of the land at 6-7 to score.
Yeah, you would think
so did,
you would
man.
think that we was like another show for real
Well,
up
none of
there.
us getting no checks up there.
Nothing.
But
Nothing. We was up
in
there.
man.
Some of us were getting checks.
Yeah, we got something. I remember a real quick story from Mitch Rosen. I remember I interned when I was interning for Lawrence Holmes down there at the score, and I think I talked to Campy, Rick Camp, and I'm like, hey, like Rick, it might have been Brendan. One day I went to his office, and I was like, man, I really want to learn how to run the boards. And Brendan was like, hey man, let me tell you something. Interns not supposed to run the boards, but if you really want to learn, you need to come up here and work an overnight show, and just be in the room with whoever in the studio, whoever's running. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, I did it. I wasn't scheduled to be there, and I came up there one night, and I did a whole entire overnight show with Rick Camp. And Rick was like, man, I love Campy, and he was like, hey, ID, I'm gonna let you run the board for this. Maybe like an hour. I did it for an hour. Maybe like for an hour. And he kind of like, stood over my shoulder, because I was used to the studio. Like I said, when Wayne Randazzo was even there, and I would like look over his shoulder, and Lawrence would like get on me, like, D, get off his shoulder. You just an intern, D. D, get off his shoulder. So I'm like, I want to learn. So I was running the board, and it's about 5:30 in the morning, because Mitch would get there super early, and Mitch came in, he opened the door, and I'm just behind the board looking at him. He's like, you work for me? I'm like,
He looks
I was
at
like,
me,
I'm like,
and I look at him.
I looked at him, I'm like, no, sir. He's like, get off the board. He's like, until you work for me, get off the board. And I'm like, all right. So I backed off it like that, but I had learned. I finally touched the boards at the school. I'm like, I know I can do this. I probably came back and talked about it on a show, whatever like
Definitely.
that. But man, it was like all those little moments that just kind of like, obviously I remember, but those little moments was like, okay, like we can do this. Like we can do this. Like, okay, I got my foot in the door right here. I got my foot in the door right here. Ken got his foot in the door right there. Ken doing this. It's like you came along, you know what I'm saying? Tony came along. It was like all these like little sparks
Yeah.
that will always hit until it like finally fucking hit. So man,
and things like congealed in this unique way. And like
Yeah.
the chemistry, all like everybody who came along added to the chemistry.
yep.
And
Somebody put something to the stew.
yeah, and
Somebody did.
It's like
Everybody
we
did.
never had any real breakdowns, or anything.
No.
Which is crazy. Like we would get into it. Like me and Ken would get into it.
We all got into it with each other.
We would.
Melvin saw the first time me and you got into an argument. Well, yeah, the second time. We got into an argument in class one time. But Melvin was there when we were recording.
Melvin?
Yeah, Melvin was there. It was the day we were doing like.
Shout out to Melvin out here doing his
You
thing.
made it be around this. We were doing this is when the Bears were here in Chicago, when the draft was here in Chicago.
What happened?
And everybody had left out the room. You thought I didn't say what you said, but you got mad.
I know y'all heard you say it, motherfucker. I heard you say it.
But I mean, I think one of the things I think is true to a degree. If you can really get into a heated argument with somebody, and then you can come back together,
Yes.
you know the boundaries of your
Yeah.
relationship better than if
Yeah.
you guys have
Yes.
never gotten to a heated exchange.
Yeah.
Period. Just like you talk about you yourself and you and I, where I mean. But I mean, we talked about some shit though. Not just even going like times when it was other disagreements with other people, and it was like, yo, if this got to go, it's got to be like that. And you was like, it's got to. You said to me like, that's just how it's got to be. I was like,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, it's just that's brotherhood.
Right.
That's why we're so close to this day. I
Mm-hmm.
think because we've been through ups and downs, real ups and downs, like personal, professional, and intertwined, and it's just
We could fill this room up right now with a lot of guys. And women too. You know what I'm saying?
women too.
And women too, obviously, that can come on down here, man. And
Man, we had an old girl that was our intern that was messing up, and then was like, just remember old girl? She was in
I
class
remember.
with him.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna bring that up actually.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah,
her.
go ahead. You've been
Well,
waiting.
so that was part of the thing. I was like, I felt bad. I was like, I'm gonna jump the line for him, and jump the line for him.
you
to
would
do
be Jason if you didn't do
to
that.
do this chronologically though. Even though we,
Jason's like, I want to talk.
but again, you know, Tony was there. Tony was at the Score to start with when I got placed in with you guys. And I'd done one show with Showtime at
Yeah.
night, and then
I always thought you brought Tony in. Please continue.
no.
I
No,
always
no,
thought
no,
that.
Tony was there first.
Years I thought
I'd
that.
done one show with Showtime, and Adam Abdullah had said you should sit in with different people because I was just gonna maybe do the same thing again, but it was the weekend, and so I came down there. It was like 10 o'clock, and I ended up getting assigned to do this at the same time. Again, we're forgetting all the detractors' names. We remember the people to shout out. We can't
Yeah.
I can't remember who this was. She was an administrator at a public school, though, and she was doing this. And she said in there, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 weekends, but walked out of the room, said to me offhandedly, it's just like, these guys aren't going anywhere. They're just talking like this. I was like, I don't know. Seems to be a pretty high level to me.
Wow.
And
She said that about us?
yeah, it was just,
You didn't. The vibe told you that.
yeah.
But she came a couple of times. I thought she
No,
was.
she came twice, and then. But the funny thing is you know, it's like
She was working from home before anybody could work from home.
It was. It
Like
was.
she working from home. It's like she working from home.
But,
Years before the pandemic.
and I don't actually know what her reasoning for being in there was because again,
No,
she
we
had
were
this
always
solid
asked
position.
for. We were
Always asked for a
flash
lady.
for a
We
woman
wanted
because
to
of
have
that.
no, not
yeah.
with you guys. I mean at
Oh,
the
school in
yeah.
general. Like, why are you
Because
here?
She was pretty disinterested all the way through, and then again at the time it was a 9-month program. I don't remember if
It was a year for
or
us.
longer.
It shrunk.
It shrunk.
We were longer, and it went back. It was 9. It went to a year, then it went back to 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I think it
And then they
was like
shortened
that.
up beyond that, I think.
Which
later.
they really,
After that,
they
why-
really still
that's
in
why
it.
they're not there no more.
Yeah,
that's
that's
why
why
our
they're
name's
not
not in the
there.
lights no more on State Street.
But she came to your show twice, and she says these guys aren't ever going anywhere. And I laughed about that every time I would like turn you guys on doing the overnights on the Score. For as long as that was going on, I was like, I hope she's awake. But I sat in with those two, and it was on the weekend. And at the time, I was in a relationship and had a dog, so I'm just like, this works much better
Oh
for my
my God,
schedule.
the dog.
And yeah.
You was co-parenting in that dog.
But also,
They
but
divorced,
also,
and they still had.
but also there was just a synergy between all of us. Kyle talked about it being a brotherhood, and it really happened quickly. Shortly thereafter, I don't remember exactly how long, went through a breakup, and like it's the Dia Davis show that helped keep me out of like a total doldrums. By that time, Tony was around. Spruiel Field started. Tony got busy with the Score, obviously. And this is the other thing I was going to bring up. We got the detractor on the one hand, and then the other, I brought in, I don't even know how I got in with him, but we won't use Christian names, Xander Morgan, because he bought into the whole, using DJ names. And he was, again, doing that hockey thing and, like, bouncing off Sid and doing stuff with you guys. And then he picked me up when I didn't have a place to live. And then he moved in with me. I recently just got... He hasn't lived with me for like 3 years. I just got a jury summons for him.
Oh.
So shout out to Xander. And his,
right?
no. Yeah.
It seemed like it was the way I'm like, is it?
No.
Oh, jury summons.
No, I had to think about it.
But-
For a minute. Oh, it's just a summons.
But it's hilarious. I've lived in the same place now for like 4 years. It's the second time a roommate that doesn't live there anymore has gotten a jury summons. I could really use that trip to a jury, actually.
There you go.
Is he still in Florida or whatever?
I actually don't know. He's been posting stuff to social media events and around. The last I saw him, he was in Northern Kentucky.
Oh,
So
that fits.
yeah. He's been all over, back to California and Florida like 3 or 4 times since he moved out with me. But yeah,
Shout out to Xander.
that was just a whole thing. And I mean, we just kept going until they kicked us out, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so. Then first of all, let's this is Saul. Before we skip over,
No, you're good. You're good.
No, we got to get to Tony first.
I can wait.
We got
Yeah.
to Tony.
all right, I didn't know if we were going. Looked like we were going in the line.
We
All right,
were,
because
but
I was gonna say that when we go to the score, now let's. It may
No, Tony's a very integral part of all of
yeah,
this.
Tony was an aspiring basketball player.
no, he was a superstar.
He's a superstar.
What was that, Tony? Some girl walked past the studio and you was basically like, man, I was a super.
Derrick Rose ain't got shit on me. Derrick Rose, man, the hell with Derrick Rose.
Tony did.
Resentment for that guy.
Tony done bumped heads with some stars here in Chicago before he even met us. But tell
Yeah.
us about your story. He's a star now, of course.
All
7.
over the place.
And
Rangard, NBC Sports.
yeah, but tell your story, man.
Yeah, I mean, once I figured out what I wanted to do, and I didn't have a backup plan, so like the first week there, I was like, I got to go all in and use all this opportunity because I had convinced my parents that this is what I wanted to do with my life. And to their credit, they didn't shoot it down. They were concerned, a little bit like, okay, you sure? All right.
Tony, we had a whole church here for you. We had this whole church that could be yours, Tony. Are you sure?
What's that show, The Righteous Gemstone?
There you Are you sure, son?
It'd have been the Black Gemstone.
So I didn't know what else that I was gonna do to make sure I pursue this with as much effort as I could. So the first week I started at ICB Net, it was then ICB. I'm like, okay, I don't do anything on Saturdays, so let's see what's happening with their local sports station. And the first show I saw was the Dean Davis show. That was the first one I saw on the list. That okay, it was like usually people that want to get up and do what they want to do, they usually do in the morning. So I saw that you guys had basically almost that whole morning locked up. So I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna stay, for the next show. But yeah, it was. But I ended up staying for the next show because Jason had the next show. And I just sat in. I was like, okay. I got in there early, and I just sat. And I was like, these guys are doing what I want to do in the style, in the way that I want to do it. So I just kept coming back, and we just became friends, lifelong friends through that. And then you guys really let me grow there as a talent and as a producer. Shout out to Kyle for letting me do things as he was the EP of the show. And then Ken and D allowing me to, mess with the sound of the show. And that's super important because, one, obviously D mentioned earlier, he certainly has an ear for sound and he understands sound. Ken definitely has an ear himself. So for them and Kyle to allow me to mess around with the feel of a radio show is very important, and I didn't take that for granted. So for me to make my first open was for the Dean Davis show. Like I had to clear it with the people at the score. My very first open I ever created was for the Dean Davis show.
Was that our first open to the show at all? Like open? We should turn the
we
mics
had
on, right?
one-
We had
no,
music. What do we have?
One with Neff on it.
Oh,
It's like,
Neff.
it's the D and Davis show.
Shout out to Neff.
Yeah, shout out to
Yeah, I
Neff
forgot
for
about that.
So we had one with Neff on it. I think Bobby didn't like that. That we didn't ask her. Then we went and got Neff to do it. We used the Neff one for a minute, and then like you said, and I remember Tony. I remember you talking about. I think you went to Tanny to ask him how it sounded or whatever. But go ahead. This is the rest of your story.
No, yeah, and from then on, you guys really helped me hone my skill in this. I'm not where I'm at today or any place after if it wasn't for the Dean Davis show. I don't know where I was going to get my practice. I don't know where I was going to get my reps. Ken always talks about get reps, no matter what it is, no matter how bad you think you are. If you do the reps, you'll get better at it. And I don't get those reps if it's not for the Dean Davis show and We Are Radio. So that's kind of how I got started. Now it's like, we're all good now. We're here now.
You are a superstar.
Known throughout the lands.
Even with those early things that he did to the show, like the intros, the outros, the segment.
The Derrick Rose hate.
I'm talking strictly about the audio, but yeah, his takes were important.
We were in the first place for his takes. We were in the first place for Tony's takes.
Dude, when Tony was blessing the mic, get on the mic, I'm like, I don't know what this kid is saying, but I mean, I hear him, but
It was
that's
fire.
some wild shit.
It was fire.
That's some wild
It was
shit.
fire.
So many agendas.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what did he just say? I'm like, all right. Okay, Tony. I'm like, damn it, Tony. All right, okay.
That key right there.
Damn it, Tony.
But we used to do like special segments and stuff, and he would add these things that made us sound a lot more professional, and it added to the flair of the show. And
Close to a
For
pro
real.
show.
we were close to it. I think we put on as good a show as any in the city for that price. We
Yeah.
I mean, also people were still in our shit because we was on Saturdays.
yeah.
So there were a lot of the two big radio stations
Yeah.
where our topics from Saturday, and of course we all talk about the same stuff, but when someone was listening, particularly what you were saying, and it's the first time they dropping it, it's like, oh, you was checking us out Saturday.
I can't remember who it was. We had a guest on. We had some illustrious guests
Yes,
too.
we
We
did.
had some really good guests.
Shout out to the
We had some
producers.
really good guests. We'll
Shout
get
out
to
to our
any show.
producers.
We'll-
Shout out to our producers.
Shout out to
as
the,
good as
yeah,
any
we'll
show.
talk about the lineage of guests we had, but I forgot who she was, and basically I forgot who she was. But anyway, she's like, listen, I think sometimes we would even ask people like, we're just starting off. You got any advice for us like that? We kind of ask those kind of questions. She's like, listen, you might not think nobody's listening to you. Somebody listening to you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Somebody listening to you. And that goes directly to Ken's point. It'd be plenty of times we'll be riding around together or we be doing something. It's like, did you hear that? Like, man, these motherfuckers. All right. So that lets you know. We on to something. We got something going. We got something cooking. The brothers is in this.
Other people that we hadn't met that had heard about us. Yeah. There are people that are giants in this industry that, someone be like, oh, Ken, that someone mentioned it and they said they knew you guys or they knew your work. Just want to say this real quick. It's one thing, you see this a lot. I think a lot of us grew up in the hip-hop. Well, hip-hop has been big forever. But that's one of those lanes which everyone wants to kind of get into entertainment for a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the boy Illinois, who graced us several times, said
Yeah.
that when
Shout
he
out
first
to Ill.
started, everybody in his crew wanted to basically rap or whatever. And the people that lasted were the people that found something their lane or whatever, right?
Yep.
We were fortunate enough that we all had something to bring to it where we all just didn't want to be the MC. And this doesn't mean that we didn't aspire, the rest of y'all didn't aspire to be the MC too, but everyone helped us grow as the forefront.
Yep.
And a lot of people aren't blessed to have people do that for them.
That's real.
That takes
was a
selfish.
blessing, man.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to take away, that people. It just wasn't, yo, I want people to hear me on here. It was, I'm going to help us get to this, and I'm going to do this to help that. And I think a lot of times crews fail, or while a lot of those other shows didn't necessarily reach the heights that we've been blessed to reach because they didn't have a family.
Yeah.
A family provides you may fall off. I'm on here. I may fall off. You could Tony pulling me here. You know what I'm saying? So those different things when you have a family and a team, and particularly to be men of color, to have that, because that's always the thing where it's like the crab in the barrel mentality, the artificial barrel. But to have that, and for us to exceed, and us to bump heads, but to know the brotherhood is so much stronger, and the love for each other is so much stronger, I will always cherish that the most.
And I want to work off of that too, because I give a little bit of my history. When I came down in 2012. When I came down, I was down. I was out, man. I wasn't in a great spot in 2012. I moved back to Chicago from Wisconsin, and I had my first run of being a professional up there, and a lot went well up there, but it ended badly. And I say that for the memoirs as far as the details, but
Just don't make that the last time it happens, Kyle. Moving forward, that's the last time.
Yeah.
Come back on your shield.
But I was out. I was ass out in a lot of ways, and I was looking for purpose, and I was in a place where I was working in a group of like 4 newsrooms, and I was like the only brother there. Across 4 newspapers, I was working. That's what my environment was, and I was looking to regroup and be back home, and just I was looking for a lot of things that I didn't know what. And when D came to me about really contributing to Regal Radio, it started out with helping cover the UIC stuff.
UIC Flames.
Yeah, y'all that got on.
I'm sorry. Sean reached out to them. Sean Terry reached out to them and was like, "Hey, can we cover y'all?" And they basically was like, "Yeah." So it was like, "Damn, okay." So we would go down there a couple of home games, and we did 1 road game down about Valparaiso. So yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Still to this day, who's gonna be great?
Oh man, that brother from Cleveland State, what was his name, man?
Cole.
Play for the Heat.
Yeah, he played for the Heat too.
Norris Cole.
Norris Cole.
Yeah,
Man, let me tell you something.
Norris Cole can take that job. Norris Cole, I'm telling you, Norris Cole.
Hey man, Norris Cole can hoop. I ain't paying too much, but you know what I'm saying, he was killing the Horizon
There was
League.
still a seal.
Hey, he was killing the Horizon League,
There was
man.
still
I'm telling you, it don't matter if he leave. Norris Cole is there.
Let me say right quick though, that was an opening for me to get back on to cover live events, which was like I said,
Yeah.
I was a writer, I was a newspaper guy, and I up until that point, unlike y'all, I wasn't really into sports radio. I kind of looked down on it a little bit. And
Man, God.
I'm just saying.
Hey man,
I could tell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was sort of ignorant in the ways too, and now a little snobby because I'm young. I got a college degree. I'm a writer.
I'm a writer.
I'm serious.
yeah, I'm a wordsmith.
Right.
Big J journalist.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big J, big protein. But D and Ken, when I started to listen to them, and I was listening to y'all up there for Football Island and stuff, and I was like, okay, there's something there. And then when I came down here and I started to sit in with y'all, I was like, for the first time, I was really like, wow, this is what it's like to really be a part of something, on this platform and see it done in a way that really appeals to me. And I was listening to other people at the time, like, Deezus and Miro and Bomani Jones, and I was saying, okay, they're doing this on this national level, but I'm seeing what I see in those people, I see in my guys right here. So that caused me to be like, I was ready. I muscled myself in. but that was part of me just wanting to really be a part of something, seeing that I could be on, like you said with that job, I could be on the ground floor of something really special. And I still think y'all could go on today and put on a show as good as anybody in Chicago, if not the country.
Yeah.
And
We got that chemistry, man. We've been doing it for so long, yeah.
and
we still talk, so.
Yeah, I still think that, and I definitely thought that then, and that was.
Oh, Tony's still mad at D. I want to put still
Every time I hear this, every time I'm around, he's still mad at you, right?
Hey.
We was on the boat, Tony's still mad at you, right? in front of my old man too. Hey, my old man. Yeah, I know, man. He should have kept on doing it.
Because I think that week or the week before, we was to me and Tony. Tony was like, I could have got you and D up in here, right? I was like, I wanted to leave. I'm always like, as long as he's happy, if you truly love someone,
hey, I'm happy.
Exactly.
I mean, and then the retirement package, the bread that they offer was so sweet. When you get that type of money, you got to really think about it.
But that's how special I thought y'all were, and that's the reason why I put so much of myself into both the show and Regal Radio, and We Are Regal Radio, and I think everything just built from there, and it's so special, so unique that everything came together the way it did, and we have people like Ryan and so many people out across the country now who
Melvin and
added
Scoop.
to it. Melvin, Scoop, and
Didn't we give Scoop his first radio interview?
Yeah.
Oh,
Scoop.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scoop always. That's why he always we
He always
came in
been-
together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look at him all around the world.
I know, right?
Shout out to Scoop.
Go ahead, Joe.
Scoop B.
To bounce off of what Ken and Kyle were just saying, though, I think going back to that moment, we all picked up on that same energy of like, not just that there's this kinship and this thing, but everybody has these. Even if we don't have the reps to really do it professionally, we hold ourselves to that standard, and we're not perfectionists necessarily. We're just pushing the envelope of like what our abilities are at that given moment based on the innate talent that everybody has. And again, everybody kind of weirdly naturally slotted into different roles at different times. And actually I'll use this as a moment to segue for Saul. I was just doing the last thing I did was to do the football/soccer podcast.
I'm gonna say too. I'm glad we're able to get you back on something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been trying to do that for years too.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Ken was on you about always reverting back to the like coming back with your tail between your legs or hangdog from Wisconsin, and I've kind of had this recurring thing of like putting all of my efforts into something until I'm just totally depleted, and then the only thing that keeps me from just completely falling into the void is the men in this room and the men in the text group text that we have. But I felt a similar energy the last thing we did in terms of just like for just pulling this kind of spur of the moment with very minimal prep, what we were doing the other day, and especially once I saw what was posted to social media, and it just dawned on me when we're listening to you talk, Kyle, a lot like those first couple of shows I turned up at, like just where it's just like we got something here. And like again, we talked about not just finding our groove or whatever, but like that connective tissue is 10 years to the present of you just catch lightning in a bottle sometimes. And I don't know, it's remarkable. And then also just the way we look out for each other, whether it's just like didn't even know how bad I was feeling and Ken will like check in on me or something, or Kyle will hit me up with something that I should be doing even if he's got to drag me into doing it, or Melvin just being super supportive. Actually, Melvin on the way here like offered to cover a part of a lift ride to get me here faster.
You should just hit me up too, because I could have brought you.
Well, no, it's cool. But like, I was just standing there, and I suddenly realized I was like, I'm standing right by a train station, and so I got on it. But like, he'd seen it in the group text and slid in one-on-one, and he would probably not be happy with me bringing it up publicly. But you know what?
No, that's fine. That's good.
He's
It's all good, man.
we all do that for each other.
We picked each other up in so many different ways. This is like I don't have a big social circle, and I've never really maintained a big social circle. But the way that when things happen naturally, you can't deny it, and it's so meaningful when it happens naturally. And people, it's crazy, like the way that we vibe and everything. It's not. And Saul is added to this too, man. We gonna get to you, Saul, in a minute.
Are we though?
Yeah.
We
gotta get into the present because we've been talking about the past too long.
It's like a war. It's like a war class.
But
Shit go in. We damn, we gotta get this off.
But I don't know, man. I can't. I'm gonna get to rambling because it's just hard to explain because it's something that I really don't want to take for granted, especially at this point. I'm reaching a transition point now, and we gonna it's a blessing, and I'm thankful for Saul because he's done a lot of shit that I had to do at one point, and even more And I'm so glad I don't have to do that shit no more. and Saul is just a great talent, and
Yeah.
somebody gonna hire this man real soon. And Saul, man, tell us about how you got involved with us, and what you're doing, and people who may watch this may not be up on what else you're doing, but make sure people know about that as well.
Yeah, well, just to kind of introduce myself, Saul Rodriguez, and I've always been obsessed with
Not
sports.
rolling the tongue though, Rodriguez.
What's that? Yeah, see?
You got that whole R roll tongue there. The rojo.
Yeah, I can switch to Spanish if you. Nah, I was kidding. Nah, but I've always been obsessed with sports, and I think I've always been able to talk about sports, but I think this kind of has allowed me to do other things I didn't know I could do, producing, and I didn't think I had it in me basically until I started doing it. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like how Ken keeps saying with the reps, this is what I'm getting now, and I've learned a lot since I've been here. And but yeah, anyways, just to kind of go back, I was working with 103.1 WPNA FM, doing sports recaps with them, and then I was able to get the credentials for the Bears games, and then that's when I met Kyle. We actually sat next to each other, and then I was like, "Hey, Kyle."
We was down on the end. We was on the far end
yeah.
of the Bears media press box with the people who was on the edge of being. Now we were the people who they signed on week to week.
Yeah, exactly.
You had the one end where the people who they was gonna let in every week, and then we was on the end where it was like, oh, okay, we'll see about that.
But it was a week by week thing. So even with the Chicago Fire, I was at that point like that. And but when I sat next to Kyle and I actually were talking a little bit, and I was like, hey, this is my first game, and Kyle was like, me too, and I was like, oh, okay, well there you go. We started kind of getting along, and we kept in touch, throughout me working at 103.1, and then in 2022, in May, when I think it was in April when you told me you wanted to do a podcast, and it was the baseball podcast, and we started talking about that, and then I was actually laid off from that radio station in May. So kind of it's funny how it worked.
Timing.
Timing.
Swear.
Yeah. So
Swear.
yeah. So ever since then, I've hopped on and done a bunch of stuff from writing to producing to social media stuff. But I mean, all of you guys, I've learned stuff from all of you guys, and it's been almost like a mentorship. Because me personally, I don't think I've had a lot of mentors really, legitimate ones that have taught me a lot where I can carry it. And you guys have taught me a lot, even if you guys didn't even know you were. So definitely appreciate it. I mean, I could tell you guys tenfold to what you guys are saying. I mean, that's what you guys are doing from Josh to Tony, Ken, all you guys. It's awesome. So I respect it, and I definitely want to get to you guys' level because I know I got a lot of work to do. But I know I'm getting there slowly but surely.
You will, man.
You definitely will, man.
You good. You real good already, man. And the amount of things you can do, and the way you doing, man. You're very personable, and I just enjoy working with you, man. Because like I said, I've worked with people who gotten on my nerves, but you never really got on my nerves. So I appreciate you, and yeah, man. We're glad to have you, man. And if we go another 10 years, it's gonna have a lot to do because of your work, man. So I appreciate you and thank you.
No, yeah, appreciate you and just give me the opportunity. And I know, I think talking to everybody and I feel like there's plenty of chances. If I'm bothering somewhere, I'm telling someone, asking someone this, or there's plenty of opportunities to be buzz off. But you guys didn't do that, so you guys help me learn and stuff like that. And being so kind, I think goes a long way. So I appreciate that.
I can tell you buzz off. That's some fucked up shit.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Some people, so.
A lot of people have that in them, and they don't deserve it. They have that arrogance, man.
Yeah.
For all the people pulling up the ladder, just don't. You gotta be there.
Swear. Yeah, but I think what's really special about this group too, outside of just the fact that naturally and organically we mesh so well, it's the way we push each other. It's the way we challenge each other. It's the way that even though you're not necessarily on TV or doing things consistently like that professionally, you're gonna get there. So we gotta make sure you get there. And having that edge and that determination was one of the biggest things that, really helped me out a lot. Even when the pandemic, there was a time when WARR Media really was a question mark. What are we doing?
I ain't want to do the shit. No.
Yeah, and I was like, well, guess what? Pandemic, it's a lot going on, but it's the pandemic, ain't nothing going on. We gonna push this thing. We gonna get this thing moving.
And you talk about the pandemic. I want to shout out someone, Drew Stevens.
Drew, look what Drew did.
My homeboy going back to the SIU, man. He played a big role during the pandemic because I saw him like we stayed friends on Facebook for a minute, and we never got together during that point. They was just going back to school, and like there was around the time that the Last Dance was on,
Yeah.
and he wrote this big ass note on Facebook, like a review of one of the episodes, and I'm like, this brother wants to write. So I reached out to him, and I was like, man, Drew, man, you want to do something? And you know, I kind of had to talk him into it a little bit, and he started. You know, he was with it, and you know, then I was like, Drew, you know, you need to get on Twitter, and he got on Twitter, and he done took over. He done took shit over.
Look at
since
it.
then.
The bigs, him and Josh with
Yeah,
the
man.
bigs.
He just did a spot on CHGO.
Yup.
Sure did.
You know, that's my man. He,
Giving wings.
no, I mean, Drew is mad talented. Like,
Y'all
so
definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Going
yeah.
I didn't know that y'all went back. He went to SIU.
Yeah, we worked at the Daily Egyptian. He was there before me.
Really?
And I got on
The Daily
at-
Egyptian?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that was
in the
our
school
newspaper.
Whoa,
It's
okay.
all about like
Little Egypt.
Little Egypt. Like it's a town called. And me and my uncle was from there. It's Cairo, but it's Cairo. It's
okay.
Like the dog is a Saluki. That's an Egyptian dog. It's all of the.
Yeah.
Because if you
That's
really
why.
think about the
I saw was in like, what is a Saluki? Like, I never knew that.
Egyptian breed of dog.
all right,
Okay,
if-
there you
if-
go.
if-
That's now
if you go
everything
to
makes
the
sense.
dudes, you will
Now
see
everything
it
makes
connects to Egypt.
It would, really, it's like it's the confluence of the rivers down there. It's like
the Nile.
It's like the Nile, Egypt, and so
Because we was here already. Y'all think I'm playing, but I'm serious.
It wouldn't be
We had
war
to
if
fight.
we weren't explaining something to Tony. Even as big as you get, Ken's still explaining.
But anyway, we battled Yaku down there in Little Egypt, and but Drew was mad talented, and he got featured in Slam magazine when we was
Really?
down when we was in when we was in school, and he went on and like so this media industry is such a trip. Like the way there was no reason he shouldn't have been picked out 10 years ago and already been doing this thing, but I was so glad just to get him back going in that mindset. And,
That's dope.
you know, like I said, I try not to take credit for people, but you got to put people in positions to succeed.
And
Facts.
there's nothing wrong with
Facts.
being honest. Like for me to say like going to the Illinois Media School or ICB, but I mean I'll just call it what it's called now. We ain't got to do all that shit. But Demonze going like, man, I wouldn't have been in that bad boy.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh no, I was gonna go anyway. He ain't do nothing. No, it's fine. You should say if someone helped you and that benefited you. I'm sure Drew would say that's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Drew would've.
Someone was put in your life. I think that's one thing you got to think too. Like I think, and I always appreciate the higher power. I appreciate having you all in my life because I don't think things just happen randomly.
Right.
And I think that's one of the key things, that to have me to work at Cision and become friends with Demonze, and for our friendship to grow to the mountains places that it has grown to this day, and how that enveloped all of you two into that or whatever, and the fortune that I feel from it. But no, anybody. I think that's also, I guess it depends. And this is one thing. This is not anything to do with discussion. Someone's trying to big brother you. You may not feel like that, but that's not something. We don't do that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This is a family, and it's like, no, that's what you need. You need someone to put a battery in your back. Because sometimes your battery's gonna be depleted,
Man.
and that's the to have somebody be like, ooh, and you be like, yo, because there were times where I was ready to check out. Look, when D left, I said I put another year on it. I said we gonna revisit this in a year, and if the year isn't going the way that I think it should go, then maybe I have to see. Shout out to Sean Sierra for having me on Sean and Meyer like right after D left. That kind of kept me going, and then Tony had mentioned that something may pop off, so I was sitting on the NBC stuff for a minute. Right, because Tony was like, "Yo, I think," and I remember months, and it was people doing me dirty, but nothing to do with anybody here. But I just set up and shut up and set up, knowing okay, because usually if T say something, whatever, and then I was fortunate enough, Michael Allardyce, shout out to Dice, for giving me the opportunity to get on at NBC with the Under Center podcast, and we at this point, last one we had a conversation, I didn't even know it was gonna be on television. I mean that because my bread ain't right. Look, I don't, wherever, let me put it like this, while I'm making it being evil, I shouldn't do it like that. Anytime you see any of us it's a representation of the rest of us.
That's facts.
Yes.
So
Facts.
never see me and think, oh, Ken did this. That's all of us doing that. I don't get there without. The same with Tony, the same with Josh, Saul, Jason, whatever and whenever you decide on what path you decide you want to go to. If it's legal, if it's back in radio, and Demonze when you're on vacation, that's us too. Because you're enjoying your life and you deserve to enjoy your life. You know what I'm saying? But that's a representation of all of us because it takes a village. For anybody that can do it on their own, fantastic. That's great for you. I'm happy you can't do that. You're a monster. I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like that's it. I'm a representation. So if you see me somewhere, know that it's all of this and more people that aren't even in this room and the people unfortunately we haven't mentioned. Please blame blame my head and not my heart. But yeah, it took a lot to in a market like Chicago.
Yeah.
Like this ain't a small market.
Yeah.
You know, a market like Chicago. Competitive, but also it's the stick-to-itiveness. Yeah. You know, if you really stick to it, use a chance. You got a chance.
You got a chance.
Right? Like that's if you really
That's more than half the battle.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, you know, you may not get the audience that, you know, you think you need to have in order to get noticed, but when people's like, okay, they've been at this for a while. Like they've been pulling up to these events for a while. Like if you keep seeing the same brand and you keep seeing the same people just sticking around, people will notice, and important people will notice. And I think that's like a big thing too, is like no matter what was going on at the school, no matter the different type of shows that was on for 1-2 months, then they drop off because they get bored or they don't feel like they're getting the instant gratification. Y'all stuck with it, and then it blossomed into, you know, all of us here and more, right? That's gonna take the brand of We Are Rigor Radio and the Dean Davis Show with them. Like when Mel make it, and Mel is going to.
He's going to make it. Yeah.
Mel is going to make it.
I'm thinking I need my cameo.
Right.
I already told him I need my cameo.
And if Melvin,
I'll be like Stephen A. Smith on Creed. I don't care. Put me up there, man. We gonna make this happen.
Melvin,
we making it happen.
Melvin Taylor III. If you haven't seen any of his projects or commercials, he's going to make it. Oh yeah, Melvin.
Yeah.
Third. Oh yeah, second.
It's second.
Damn, his son gonna make it too.
But like he's gonna bring the name of the Dean Davis Show and We Are Rigor Radio with him. Right. The same with me. The same with Josh. The same with Saul and Kyle and Ken and D whenever he wants to come back. Like it's going to follow us, and it's something that I always mention to people, that I was blessed to have people to feed into me as I grew into this business. And I'm never going to tell my story without starting with WARR and the Dean Davis Show.
Yeah.
And you know, I think I'm gonna transition that. I think I'm gonna transition that into my personal news, because
Let's go.
it fits into that narrative and that belief. And the fact that when you feed into others and they feed back into you, like, you know, Tony got me on to NBC Sports Chicago a couple years ago, and that was just months after I really was deciding, like, I'm done with WARR. We Are Rigor Radio. I'm done with WARR. I'm done with media, pretty much. And you know, I decided against that just barely. A couple months later, I got those Bears credentials for the first time. Shout out to NABJ Chicago. Shout out to Brandon Pope.
I was just
B.
saying, shout out
Pope.
to
B.
Shout out to
Pope.
Greg Pope.
For that and helping with that, and I got that, and that kept me going. But I was still broke. I was still not doing anything, and I needed a job. And you know, T was already at NBC. He was doing his thing. He got Michael Allardyce to look at me, and I talked to Mike a couple times, and he brought me in. And it was part time. It wasn't. I wasn't doing much. I wasn't on TV yet. I went on TV at all. There was a couple times. To their credit, they gave me a couple opportunities to do the rush, but I always felt like shit when they would ask.
You physically felt like shit?
No, well,
What?
sort of, but
Okay.
more like I looked like shit.
Oh,
So I was like, I couldn't go.
The rush was fun. I did the rush a couple
But,
times. It was fun.
You know, I would have liked to have done more at NBC. Eventually, I got let go in January, along with a lot of more essential people than I and great people, but you know that happened, and it was another bump in life that you know. If nothing else, for my story, I want people to realize, like what you said, you got to stick to it. You got to keep belief in yourself and in the people around you, and you know, I was determined for that not to be the end. And that can't be the last chapter. And I just was like, man, I got to find something else. I'm about to be 40 years old. And I could barely believe that. But I needed to do something this year and have myself resituated in a way that where I could see a path for myself going forward. So I just kept at it. I kept with jobs, and I kept, you know, networking and doing things. And eventually a news station called WFAA in Dallas reached out to me. This was due off some other jobs that I reached out for through the company that they're under. They was related to them and other stations, and those fell through. But this station looked at me, and they saw some potential. And I talked to them, and you know, I got Ken to do talk to them for
Yeah,
me.
I lied for you.
Yeah. I did Ken to,
Gang. You said it earlier.
Ken to throw some lies, you know, and a couple other people from my past to help me out with that. And eventually, the last week of July, they offered me a job. And so this is Dallas. This is a relocation for me.
Going to the Lone Star State, cuzzo.
I will be starting that position in a week or so. And
Man.
I'm going to be moving from Chicago. And
That sucks, though.
yeah, it's
In a way, it's great you're going on an adventure.
yeah.
It is.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss my cousin, man. I'm gonna miss my cousin.
We'll still see, but
It's
you're going
the
on a new adventure, man.
Like, that's what I'm saying too about being 40. Like, this the type of thing. When I was 23, I'd have been like gung ho. Like, it'd have been nothing. Like for me to move around, and I thought that my life in between that time and now would have been nothing but a gang of adventures and a gang of moving around and being in the adventurous journalists of the world and stuff. But it wasn't. I had to
Grind, man.
I had to
Yeah.
come back home.
Get it in the dirt.
Yeah.
That's literally getting into the dirt.
Yeah.
I had to come back home. I had to restart. I had to stay on couches and basements and rely on family and friends. And, you know, in the meantime, I built up more family. And
Yeah.
I built up.
Like I said, I'll take it for granted, man. Dude,
Yeah.
you say you turning 40. I turned 45 Monday. I'm the elder in this bitch. And I'm thinking about everything that, and then like I forget, like we've done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is the thing with us too, which is it's the curse, and it's the what word am I looking for? It's the gift and the curse.
Yeah.
Because man, we grinding so hard, man. Be like, yeah, I did that. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
And like I mean, but that's the great part because it's like, I mean, man, I don't know. We're not at the beginning, but in a way, I don't feel like I'm in the middle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like I'm in the middle.
Mm.
I feel like there's like some levels, and it's just like
It's a long way
so
to
now
go.
it's like I'm kind of like I'm old young Tony. So Tony and I used to have these conversations when he was working at the school and I was working Incision, and he would come over and have lunch with me, and we'd just be hackling in the calf. And Tony, back then, because Tony doing everything young, Tony had to have like a new promotion every 6 months. So if Tony did get a promotion, like I don't know, I'm not doing nothing. I'm like, Tony, you're already the youngest person that did this, that.
You probably the
this.
youngest EP ever, weren't you?
He's up there.
Gotta be.
Right. Yeah, maybe like Kevin Z-Pack might have been the youngest.
Okay.
I was like maybe the second
Youngest? Yeah.
So and I used to tell him like, dude, every time sometimes you just gotta take a second, and I have to tell myself that because I'm like, dude, I'm looking at myself. Like yesterday, it's funny. Ryan and I were supposed to record, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah. I was like, I don't know, Ryan. I'm kind of having the birthday blues, and he was like, man, yeah, you was feeling the same way recently or whatever, and I was feeling down yesterday. Like I was feeling down. It was wild how bad I felt yesterday for a period of time. And usually I don't let depression, like I really have triggers to stop depression built up from years of like, oh, no, we're not doing that, right? So the triggers after about 4 hours, the trigger started kicking up, and I started feeling happier and was like, okay, I know I'm bugging or whatever, but it was like, dude, what are you gonna do? What's next? And I'm like, man, I ain't really did shit. But this is how, like, this is me. This is how me and my brain, how I operate. Where I never look at something like, yo, we did that. It's cool, but it's like, yo, what's next? Like, so it's, again, like I said, it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
But I had to tell myself to snap out of it, you know what I'm saying? And, appreciate, the blessings of my family and this family that have pushed me, propelled me to have a good life.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, just to piggyback on what Ken and Kyle was mentioning, like, people don't define their lives by like what set them back. It's like how they pursue forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for Kyle, for you, your story is not one of setback. It's the parts that pushed you to keep going. I think is what defined you as a creative, as a writer, as a person. And I think it also defines WARR, and I think it also defines the Dean Davis Show, and I think it also defines our friend group that we all have those testimonies of when we felt like stagnant or this is not going the way I thought it was going to go. But we had each other to lean on during those times of creative stagnation, professional stagnation. To tell each other to keep going and keep pursuing what our dream was and what we love to do, despite all the setbacks, despite all the people that said we weren't going to, do something. That is what defines this group, and that is what defines you, Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. And also too, through all the stuff you say you've been through, and you thought that you was gonna be here and there. One thing I don't want you to forget about is all the fun we had.
Yeah.
We had so much fun. So many stories can be told. I remember, this is a crazy one. This is me and Chanel's like 1 year anniversary, maybe 1 year anniversary. And you know how you keep the cake in the freezer and you pull it out, you have a slice after your 1 year. Ringing the doorbell. Oh, who was that? It's Kyle. And I'm like, what's up, cuz? He's like, hey man, I'm just trying to see what's going on. I'm like, hey, come on in. So we sitting down, we talking to shit, and then Chanel was like, are we about to have our slice of cake for our 1 year anniversary? I'm like, yeah. Cuzzo, you want a slice? Chanel's like, what the hell? But it's just kind of like, it's like little stories like that. So even though, you know what I'm saying, you had all the ups and downs, everybody had the ups and downs within the friend group, within the family, professionally, whatever like that. I just don't want us also just not forget all the fun times we had, because we have stories, y'all. Yeah. Like the stuff that we just talked about is probably only like 10% of the stories that we can even get into. We've had
the hard belly laugh.
Oh my God! Like I'm like I said, I'm with blood, so it's kind of harder for me to kind of see you move on because you know what I'm saying, we family, and I was on the phone with you when you got the call, and even though I was in the text chain acting like I didn't know, but I knew. I was like, but yeah.
You actually think people believe that?
I was like,
see,
what?
I didn't fake. I wasn't gonna fake.
That was the worst lie I've ever seen.
Because I was actually like, I was waiting like. I was fed up. I'm like, I was like, either I told Tony, I was like, either this motherfucker has plenty of job, like he has three offers on the table. I'm like, damn, he said shit.
He said nothing.
I didn't think of that because I was radio silent for a couple of weeks, so I know you were like, what the fuck is going on?
And I almost blew it on the text chain because I knew. I was like, all right, whatever. But besides all that, man, we've had so much fun. Yeah. Like now, I'm in a position right now. I'm a cheerleader. Although I pulled out, retired, whatever like that. Obviously, I always come on. Y'all, saying y'all bless me. I mean, y'all, allow me to come on the show, whatever like that. I have a lot of fun just being y'all cheerleader and just kind of like bigging up everybody whenever I see somebody out and about that we might know. Like, oh man, you see what Ken doing? You see what Tony doing? Josh is doing his thing. Kyle, hey, he about to move down to Texas. I'm like the cheerleader in the background because I would say this much. Everybody in this room allowed me to live out my dream. And my dream was to get a radio show, get on the radio itself, obviously, and do TV. That was my dream. Even though I didn't get to the point where it's kind of like, oh man, you know, I'm here and I'm doing this. I'll be able to pull back from my family. So I did it for that reason, and I have no regrets about that. But at the same time, though, you all allow me to live my dream. Like, I can go into the ground peacefully because I was able to do what I said I wanted to do. At the same time, I was able to find friends for life, and also got to do it with my blood at the same time. Yeah. So I'm like over the moon, ecstatic that you have been able. You've got this blessing right here. You able to get down to Texas. I don't know about you moving to Texas. I'm working. I am kind of worried about that as a family member. I told my grandmama, your great auntie. He's like, he moving where? I'm like, he moving to Texas, grandma. Like,
great.
Just remember,
Auntie Joanne, she swore nobody told her too.
Yeah, I know, man. And my grandma was like, nobody told me nothing. I'm like, I told you Kyle was moving to Texas. She was like, you ain't told me nothing. I'm like, yeah, I did, grandma. So they're happy for you. Everybody happy for you, man. Everybody in the family's happy for you. And now I get to cheer you all the way down to Texas. Now I got a reason to come back down to Texas. I got a reason to come to Dallas. Never been to Dallas, so I ain't got a reason now.
That's gonna be my first time down there.
So that's we could do a big brother road trip right here. I don't care. We can all get down there. But I'm just very happy, man, that I could be all y'all cheerleaders. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting from the stand, man, right there front row. And I love it, and I love you, Cuzzo. Love all y'all in here. I love you, Cuzzo. And simple fact that you doing this, man, I'm over the moon for you, brother.
Thank you, D. And it's the way that you express that, really, for people who don't know D, that's the essence of who you are, man. You a positive dude. You are so, like, it's such a pleasure to have you as a blessing. A blessing, yes, a blessing, a pleasure, everything, man. To have you as family, to have you as a person who has my back.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man.
Man, like I said, so much of this last 10 years has been a testament to the spirit that you are and the way that you fed into all of us. And
that's why you can cheer too, because you know a part of you is in all of us.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man.
And that's why there is no bitterness about you stepping out. Even we could joke and stuff, but
but it continue to joke.
Yeah, we knew that
Tony's actually really mad at me. Tony's for real. I know you hate a Tony.
But we know
my younger brother wasn't even in the dirt.
We knew that you weren't doing it just for any reason. We knew that you were satisfied.
Man.
You were doing it in large part because you wanted to be there more for your family and everything, and for your daughter and for your wife. And I just want to speak to the example that you set and that Ken has set as men, as our eldest men in this group.
Yeah.
The examples y'all set as family men and people who have maintained, like, y'all have sacrificed a lot throughout the years in regards to time with your families and everything. And if it wasn't for that, so much of that, the work that y'all put in, like I said, we wouldn't be here as well. And
I remember when Ken told everybody on the show that Afton was breaking with Kelsey, and I was like, I looked at him. Like, wait, man, you serious, man?
Yeah, I remember.
Like, you serious about this? Do you see what we're trying to do here? You having another baby?
Okay. So the best part about that, like, there are things with Demonze and I where we have conversations within conversations without saying certain things. And we were in the
school studio,
and Courtney, Ty, and I forgot who
Jill.
else was there. Jill was there.
Yeah.
And Courtney was having a baby.
She was pregnant.
Her first child,
yeah.
her son.
Courtney Seuss, Miss Seuss.
And so she'd been pregnant for like 5-6 months, and I hadn't said anything about Afton, back then. And fucked around, and I said it because it was coming out.
Live on the show.
Everyone leaves the studio, and Demonze is sitting like at Sydney's, where Sydney was sitting on the computer. And he looked at me, and I was like, yeah, she did that. And he looked at me, and we had a conversation, but we did not. And that was the only time we spoke in that conversation.
Oh man,
yeah. That one, I mean, well, again, okay. case in point, good thing you brought that up. First of all, and I always say this. Shout out to Chanel and Grace for allowing me to borrow their husband/dad for the
Shout out
years that
to
I have.
Afton, Ken, Lil Ken, and Kelsey too.
Yes, and I was gonna say shout out to my family for always being gracious, and it could have always turned into something that was an issue, and it didn't. And it allows me now where, compared to scheduling, like now I just have to make sure one of us can pick up the kids, and luckily Afton now works on the south side, so if we have to switch, it's a lot easier. But that goes to show too, if you put in enough time, you are allowed it. You will get to the point where maybe you don't have to sacrifice as much as we used to sacrifice. Because time, you got to think we would be recording 2 or 3 shows a week. We would be at the score doing the flip. Don't let us have have some interviews.
Interviews. Oh my God.
And we're not getting home till 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? That's after work. So it's not like we went home, saw our family, whatever. Like sometimes we didn't see your kid before your kid went to sleep.
And throw in internships, doing all that at the same time too. So full-time jobs, families, internships, and then our show and all that. Oh my God.
And so shout out to the family.
Shout out to the families, man.
For pushing us. But again, shout out to the friends. But again, it's great. I'm proud of you. I want you to attack this like you've never attacked anything.
Absolutely.
Come home on your shield. Or don't bring your ass back.
Where's Kyle at? I don't know. I think he's living in Texas now.
If I fail again, I might just walk the earth like Kung Fu.
You may as well just become like a merchant marine. Just go to the water, sail.
I would be like Superman and the Man of Steel,
Yeah.
walking on the
rig.
We won't speak any failure.
Nah.
We won't speak any failure.
I'm just joking, man. But that's the thing too. Like having dealt with failure and dealt with tough times before. Like
All about growth.
it's
Yes, sir.
I don't worry about those things as much anymore because I know not only I have y'all behind me, have my back, and as well as my other family and friends, but it's just you learn perspective. Like when you get to my age,
I want you to worry a little bit.
You learn.
Okay, I'll tell you this way because this is something I think we both have in common to a degree. One, and I said this to the young to Tina, who's a lady that fine wonderful woman at WFAA. You have to say what a person's weakness is.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? He doesn't really like to ask for help. And I said one of the things.
You're right.
I said one of the problems with me, I don't really like to mess with help. He doesn't like to mess with help. She was fearful of. It's like he only likes to do sports. I said no. He likes other stuff outside of sports more. Than I said. If you're talking to me, I'm more of a sports person. He does community events. He does all this or whatever. This is one thing that I have a problem with, and I still have a problem with it. If I'm in a bad state of mind and that plane is going down in the tailspin, it's hard for me to pull that bitch up because a part of me be like, crash it. You gotta don't crash that bitch. Start early. Pull that bad boy out, level that hoe back up, and sail higher. I'm just saying. I want you to keep that in your mind because there's gonna be some days, but don't let those days start counting up. You know what I'm saying? Break it out and level that plane back out and just keep sailing, Kyle.
You're right, Kenan, and I'm like quick. You're right, Kenan, and you were really right, and that's why that's one reason why I appreciate you as a friend because you get me like as much as anybody, and that's surprising because I don't have many people who I think really get me, but you do, and I'm glad. I didn't know that y'all talked like that, but I'm glad that you did.
I sold you, bro. I sold you.
But I'm a look.
Gang all day.
That's one of the things that, like I said, I've learned more about myself and being more self-aware and. I'm working. I'm working on it. God's working on me.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
not talking from.
We all do.
This is your issue. No, I'm saying I have to get on myself. Like, dude, pull the plane up because part of me is like.
You'd rather fail on your own than reach out for help sometimes and succeed, and that's not the most productive way to go about life. It's not the best way. Sometimes you need help, and when you do, you got to have that self-awareness to reach out and let people help you.
Right.
You know,
That's real.
Go ahead, Jason.
Couple things. That specifically, Ken describing you describing himself could just as easily describe me, which is why I laughed out loud. So prominently, but it's one of those things where with you two, you've each reached out to me when I'm in that death spiral, and it's always in my mind, along with other people outside of this room, that I'm going to get to a point where I actually get to do the giving. And jumping in where what Dee was saying, I felt a real strong bond, kinship to that sense of I got to live out my dreams because I met you guys, and I realized that the destination that I thought had to be like keeping up with the Joneses wasn't the same thing, and then work on myself and burying myself in my problems to figure out a way to actually listen and be brave enough to go pursue things. But I in terms of media, like being on a broadcast, like maybe a guest is great, but like I got to have my show and I got to be on your guys' show, and I got to be one of the last interns at the Score, and I got to have somebody recognize me for my Boers and Bernstein name. And those things are just like, somebody might say that those things are trivial, but like,
No.
yeah, but
A lot of
like,
people wish they could do that.
well, and that's the thing. Like, if I hadn't met you guys at the right time, and if you hadn't been such a go-getter for me to get out of my, like, I don't know if I'm good enough thing, I probably wouldn't have gone for the Score. I would have done something else, and maybe I still would have been a PBS intern, and that would have fulfilled one lifelong dream, you know? I got to do WTTW, and I got to do WSCR when I had the opportunity to, and I wasn't 20. I was 24, 25, 26, I can't even remember, but like, you're talking about being about to be 45, and you're 40, and I'm 35 right now, and I remember being in my late 20s, knowing that you guys were older, you were my co-host, or were leaving to go succeed, and I was, finding different co-hosts and different avenues, and I was thinking, I remember having a conversation with you where you were like, oh, I'm not going to date because I'm just going to focus on my career. And it's funny because, one of the last times we were all together was for your wedding.
Yeah, I know, right?
And now you're expecting, just like they are, so you got to do that balancing career and family thing. But I remember being in my late 20s and being like, I can't do what Tony's doing. Like, I have to do both. I have to succeed in my career, and I have to try to date and, like, chase, down this family. And now I'm 35, and I'm not dating because it's just a distraction. And I feel what you said about being 40 and feeling like, and you being 45, and that this isn't the end, it's closer to the beginning. Like, I don't know if it's just who we are or if it's that wellspring of, like, fountain of youth that we all have each other. But I feel like, one, I look at people I went to high school with, and I'm like, you're old. I'm not old. And I feel like it's like I've done things, I've lived life. What you said about it not feeling like the adventure. Like, I've done things I know where I'm like, I know the toil that went with that or the sacrifice that went with being able to do the crazy adventure. But an outsider just sees the adventure. Right. They don't. And so, like, the same thing applies. And it's important to remind yourself of that. But it's also important to remember there's a point, and I think you were getting at this, where you said it as well, where you just get to appreciate it. And you're going off and you're doing your stuff with the station. And, after like 18 months of really, really working in therapy, I'm actually going to pursue like creative writing projects and try to go at
All right.
rather than being on a screen and putting my voice through speakers where you're going to read me in print, hopefully. And we got Melvin. You said it before. I remember that text chain, and I jumped in too. Neither of us are joking about wanting to have cameos when Melvin makes it.
Oh no, I'm gonna be on the screen.
And the other thing too, you talked about sacrifice of family. I know Grace is doing the camp at Purdue, right?
Yeah, coming up.
So she's doing video production. Melvin's gonna make it. She's gonna intern on Melvin's
doing
sets.
my transition from my last transition.
All right. Well, since this is your shindig, let me hand it over because
that's basically what we're gonna start to wrap up here because we've been going on. I don't know how long we've been going on, but this has been such again. I thank you guys for taking your time and giving me this time with y'all before I do leave for Texas. And I just wanted to leave before we go to sort of speak on the things that, as long as we've spoken on our history, we've spoken on where we're at sort of right now. I wanted to speak a little bit about what we're looking forward to, and I want to throw to Tony first with that, because we've spoken about you guys being family men. He's becoming a family man now as well.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, we had that wonderful moment in last October.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrated at your wedding, man.
Have a great moment this October.
Let the people in on what that is going to be. What do we basically, before we go off, let's talk about what we're looking forward to, the things in our lives and professionally, personally, whatever that we are looking forward to, and that is going to be pleasures for us going forward.
Yeah, when I started out on this journey with you guys, I was just kind of all in because I didn't have anything else that I could lean on to center me. It was this. It was the Dean Davis show. It was working in sports and stuff like that. But now you guys have seen like the full growth of myself. And I mentioned that. I mentioned that to my wife. I'm like, man, like Lawrence, Campy, Herb, and you guys, and have really seen me for real grow. Like I started this as like a kid, and then now I'm having a kid, in October, and I was talking to my wife through this, and I'm like, this is gonna be the first time in my adult life where I have the opportunity to 100% focus on my family. I've never been able to do that, before, because I was always working. I was always in pursuit of something. And now having that focus and looking ahead, now it's all about just, getting the stuff at work at NBC and at, the Ring and these other gigs like settled. So when I go away, and it's going to be a while, it's, about 4 months, that I can just focus on, my family.
It's equal rights.
Right.
Also, good for you for taking that opportunity.
Yeah. And, to be able to have you guys at my wedding and you guys see the growth in myself professionally and personally, it was important for you guys to be there, and I'm glad you guys were there. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now for the future is, getting that balance of that work-life balance that I've never really had up until now. But just continue to be the best creative that I can be. But also I'm looking forward to being the best father and husband that I can be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of a good segue as well, talking about family, because in addition to putting
baby coming?
no. It still holds. It still holds that I'm doing that thing where I'm not dating and I'm not trying to do all that. But family is playing an important role for anybody who has been around long enough following WARR Radio to be like, whatever happened to him? He fell in a hole. In addition to mentioning all that like quiet, lonely work I've been doing in the last couple of years, the other thing that I've had since the pandemic has been living steps from my nephew, now plural nephews. And for whatever it is, this moment in time where it might not be glamorous or whatever, I'm really loving being able to be there and have that time. Yeah, right now, like, one of them is like 9 months, the other one is 3.5. And I know I'm not always going to be steps away living in the same neighborhood. I might be on the other side of the world. You guys knowing me, I'm literally making certain plans to move to Melbourne, Australia. And if it works out, I would be thrilled as hell. But on more, pedestrian or like you can do it anywhere, whatever else.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm started doing the first baby steps of actually getting a writing practice and not just doing little articles, not just doing nonfiction, but to do creative nonfiction and even some fiction. It's funny. The smallest steps, right? I think we can all like. It's so cliche, and you'd be like, oh, "That's not how it works." But we all have met each other through walking through the doors of ICB, which was far from glamorous. But Eventbrite, I did a flash fiction thing just on a whim because, I spent a lot of time at home. And, like, it kind of just threw open a door to be able to be like, I think I can do this. Like, there's been so much time in earlier phases of my life where I put roadblocks that I should be doing something more practical, pragmatic, or something that's more like when I was doing spraying wall fields, it was like I don't have time to do that because I have to see where this goes. And like what I talked about and feeling a lot like Demonze, I saw where it went and I'm really happy. I got to be tad deflated. And it's just like, hey, like I have had the surprise of people being like, what was your score name? And be like, I remember that. And like, it's just, again, trivial, but like it's filled me up with the memories, the adventure that gets you through the doldrums to not give up. And I think, I don't know what it's been through these 10 years or so for me that's kept me from giving up. But I don't feel old and I don't feel worn down. Some days I wonder why it's had to be so much work. But I also know that if I had gotten the success that you got at the age that you had, I would have effed it up royally. And I mean, take that with you to Dallas. You know, like you could have done it at 23 and you might have bounced out and then not had the gumption to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I'm taking things.
Everything happens. You're running your own race.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not
Facts,
competing against
bro.
somebody else.
I'm
Facts.
I do not run my race with anyone else's race. I run my own race. I cannot measure my race with your race.
Yeah.
I have to measure my race with the race. I can increase my pace and I can refine how well I am as a runner. You know what I'm saying? So I can help myself become better as a runner. But as far as trying to gauge my race to your race is where a lot of people fall into a bad.
Run with your own races.
Yes. But that's not the easiest thing. You know, it's hard. You know, sometimes you're gonna look at other people and be like, "Damn, I should be doing what they doing or whatever." And that, we could look at and within our own camp. I could look at. There's sometimes I've looked at Tony and been like, "Damn, man," but I never felt resentful about that. I've been proud and happy for Tony because he's my man, and you know it
He
just
went for it too.
he went and,
get what you
and I know the
deserve.
work that he put into it. That's right. You know, sometimes you look at other people in the industry and be like, man, this motherfucker. But but again, you can't get caught up in that either, like you say, Ken. And you know, we run our own races. Things come when they come, and you know, I'm being better at that too, and I'm accepting the blessings as they come, and I'm trying to stay humble and work harder, and just show up for the moments that show up for me.
It's easy to not appreciate your blessings. I was saying this like maybe a month ago. I was seeing some opportunities some other people was getting. I was like, man, I want to do that. And after all stuff, it's like, dog, you know you do this, right?
Right, that's the thing too. Like,
oh, you trying? And I tell myself, you trying to take up everything, huh?
yeah,
Like-
you be wanting to do, like, you don't even feel like doing that stuff, but you feel envious anyway. And it's like, why do I feel envious? I don't even want to do that. Yeah, that's like,
Well, I mean, everybody wants to shine.
yeah.
Everyone wants to shine. Everybody wants to shine. But again, you put in your work.
Saul.
Go ahead, Saul. What do we expect? What are we expecting from you moving forward?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just
You're going to be working in NBC within the next year.
fingers crossed.
It was a post he was trying to get. The job got snatched down real quick, but we know that you know.
No, yeah, I'm trying. I graduated from Roosevelt, Laker Nation in May.
Are you, baby?
But it's taken me a while. Like, I think, you know, I didn't mention that. Like, I mean, I know I'm the youngest out here, but like at the same time, like
So how old are you?
I'm gonna be 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why
And-
are we the
Where
same
are you the
age?
youngest one?
Yeah,
Because I just turned 29 in June.
How old is
Oh.
Melvin?
Melvin's
No, he's
older.
older.
So wait, we
Oh,
got
okay.
we ain't got no, wait, we gotta get us some new blood. Up here. You motherfuckers are aging out.
No, speaking.
Hey, I mentioned it already. We're going second generation with this We Are Rego shit.
No, yeah. I was gonna say, actually, no. Speaking of that we haven't mentioned. I want to mention. I think Muzz Quadri, who did the soccer, I think he might be like he's old. I think he might be a little younger than this. I could be wrong.
he's young.
But even for sure, I know that Anthony Pisana, who has done some movie reviews, he's like 22.
Okay,
So,
yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
we need
yeah.
that. We need that.
Yeah.
Got to balance it out. The average is getting all fucked up.
Yeah, we got to go stalk out some new blood,
Yeah.
some young blood out here.
Yeah,
Somebody
and,
got to pass it on.
Yeah.
Somebody has to pass it on.
and I've
Our young guys are becoming OGs.
And I've told Kyle because like I still do some work for College DuPage, and I see a lot of people that like are working in the newspaper and stuff like that. I'm definitely looking out to see what we can.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
no,
sir.
like even for me, like I went to College DuPage. It took me like 6 years to get out of there because I didn't really have a lot of discipline. I think it took me a while to get to where
Talk
I'm
that
at.
talk, Saul.
Yeah, and even if like I know I'm young, like even like the people, there's a lot of people my age that are like, I don't know what to do with my life. Like, what is gonna happen? Like, dude, you're young. Like, even I mean, shit, for you guys. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, you still got a lot of time, and a lot of people. It's not a race. I think at a certain part of my life, I was like, I gotta get. Man, I'm like 23. I haven't. But I'm like, dude, no. Like even now. Like even
you
now,
feel
right?
washed
up.
Yeah,
I used to
yeah,
say
right?
that.
I know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
listen.
No,
I'm gonna tell y'all real quick. These about to be some of the best 5 years. There was that 30 to 35. Oh, that's that's before
yeah,
you
that's
find
where-
that. Then after that is when you finally starting to age out. These y'all still got a sweet spot. Right? Still a sweet spot. Except for Tony.
And,
He's done.
Right, take advantage of it physically, you guys,
Yeah.
the single ones. Yeah, but when you get past 35,
I'd say 37 is when you start to see the end.
Let's let him
Oh,
finish.
no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, we
It's all
did.
good.
We did take over sauce. No, but you were going.
Oh yeah,
saying,
so I was saying like I know it sounds dumb like to be like 23, like who would think like that, but I've like grew up with some people that actually like have made it big and done certain things, and I'll be like, damn, like that dude's like younger than me. What am I doing or something like that, right? But it's like ridiculous to think about because like you said, gotta go with you.
That's his
it's,
race.
It's his race, yeah. And I've kind of learned to like stay in my lane and kind of dedicate myself to what I'm doing now and even like I've always thought sports, but even there's other lanes I haven't even like thought about that I like that I think I can get into just because of this, and it's helped me a lot. So I don't know what's in store, but I imagine a lot of big things. 'Cause I think I'm very confident in what I can do. So
I mean,
yeah,
man, listen. Clearly, you're gonna be running Riggle Radio.
he already
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But I would say that's the first step for him. He's got, like I said, you got so much potential, and people are gonna see it, and you pretty soon, and you're gonna be doing it. And like when we get to Josh, we can speak to that too. But it's just.
It's been a minute since I heard him talk.
We'll end with y'all too. But yeah, let's go to Josh then, because Josh got the future ahead of him too.
Oh man.
Got shit to do now. I told you I had to be at the Rucker.
He do. Who you think giving him a ride over there?
Yeah. But anyways, obviously, man, starting off young with you guys, I like just like Tone. I could say you guys really saw my growth. Me coming in, and Tone is the only one I was like a little bit older than me at the time. And hanging around with a bunch of OGs doing learning from the best.
Backing old women down in concerts.
Boy, hey. I was.
Forget about that.
That was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, no problem.
Hey, it was some good times. But anyways,
Can you look at young age and old women and middle age? All right.
hey, man, we don't discriminate. but no, overall, man, like you said, we talk about the family component. Being able to do stuff like that doesn't happen if we don't work and grind and build together over the times that we had, man. Yeah. And it's truly an honor and a privilege and a blessing to know and grow with each of you guys. I mean, even when we talk about this past year, bringing on newcomers like Saul, just being like, oh, wait, you went to Roosevelt? Oh, that's family, him knowing the same people that I know and the professors that he's had and things of that sort, and even that goes a long way to the WARR Media name, because I know I'm not speaking for Saul, but I know it probably brought him some type of comfort to be like, okay, I'm not only am I working with Kyle, but Kyle knows Roosevelt because of me.
Yeah, definitely.
That means I know that would mean a lot to someone like that. So all about continuing to carry the name, carrying the legacy, carrying the brand that we all have done and everything that we do. There's no me without you got any of you guys, especially D and Kyle, because that's how I really got into the family business. And Kyle really kind of pushed me and saying, yo, you got these wings, come on, let's fly. Provided me the opportunities to fly in a lot of various ways to get to this point, to now where we talk about the future side of things. Yeah, as long as this, no matter what I do, as long as this is still around, I'm here. That's a given. I'm never going to dismiss the people that believed in me the most to get to this point. So I'm always gonna be here with WARR Media and everything.
You're gonna
but-
get one of them NBA studio shows.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm looking forward to it when that time does come. But obviously, but where I'm at now, you talk about embracing the journey, enjoying where you at
With
right
the
now.
bigs.
Yeah, doing reporting with the bigs and everything, covering
Shout
the
out-
Bulls.
shout out to Gene
Shout out to
and
Gino
Gino.
and T. Shout out to Gino and T, man, and obviously doing it with Drew makes it that much better. So
Love seeing y'all post games.
yeah, man, appreciate that for real. But it goes to that doesn't happen without Kyle, because the first time I met Gino and T was literally with Kyle at 70 to Score doing our Runner with WARR show.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that goes a long way to where they help to go with that progression. So
We
much
really
love
was
to you,
running
man.
up through the score. Shout out to Mitch Rose.
Man, shout out to y'all for acting right. 'Cause they
wasn't
could have
a
been like,
given.
all right, man, y'all got to get up out of here. But
I tell you.
they never kicked us out of there at all.
That's real. That's
and
real, man.
like once D got the equipment and everything, he was able to do it like from the crib. But y'all were
No, they changed everything up is what when then the
construction. Yeah, then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
But they had no intent on kicking WARR out of that space. So shout out to y'all for being professional during that phase and handling that well.
For sure, no doubt. I'm the single bachelor in the group, but
Hey, me too.
no, yeah, y'all too. Yes, sir. You're right. My bad. My bad. I have to get used to that. I gotta get used to that. I forgot. It's been a while. But
Podcast idea, new podcast from 3 singles.
I'm confirmed bachelor, man.
I'm like, damn.
could have a bachelor show or something. I'll be kind of fine. But as long as y'all continue to live, keep doing y'all thing. Obviously, T's over here living life, making babies. So I don't mind being Uncle Jay. Continue to be Uncle Jay around here.
I'm on some real shit. I got grand nephews. That's part of the reason. That's part of the reason I'm going to Texas too. Because I got two grand nephews down there that I'm gonna get to spend time with. I got a niece down there.
How the fuck you got a granddad?
Look,
Tell us. I lined that up for us. Bro.
Look, I know. I was an uncle at 12.
Okay.
So and my niece, she's had 2 babies.
So you said, well, hold on, let me get this right. 12. Said that you 40. So she 30.
Yeah.
She's 28.
Yeah. She'll be 28.
Yeah, 28.
In
Okay,
in
too bad ain't bad.
she'll be 28 in September.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, she's not as hot as her mama was.
Damn. The rest of us here are regretting that. My sister was hot like fire.
I love you. I hope.
Gina, you got anything to say about this? Did you think she was hot too?
I love you, sis. I'm just playing.
That's what we do.
That's the sound. That's where the sound gonna drop out
You
there.
don't let the truth slip out a little bit.
Oh, my
Give him
God.
a little bit of something. Give him a little bit of something.
Oh man.
Life ain't all perfect.
Oh, man. Shout out to Shadika. Shout out to Nautica. See, that's
You
how,
said Nautica.
that's how you know my sister was 16. My sister was 16 when she had her.
She had that
She
Nautica
named her
jacket
Nautica.
on.
Yeah.
I'm going to name her Nautica. Name the daughter Alexis. You got anything to add to that? What did you think when she named her daughter? I can hear you now. Nautica.
Oh, man.
We end off from Ken.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah, you do. As far as me with the future, like I said, man, I'm just cheerleading in the stand right now for y'all. Sometimes things do pop up in my head, like I could do this, but then it's like I don't feel like doing that. I'm being real. You know what? I've been, spending time with the family, enjoying with the family. Grace is really kind of like taking up all time. She just did a film camp down at Purdue University. Now she's going to a film camp up in Facets up by DePaul, starting Monday. So she's like all into that, trying to get her film back that she made in school. I saw the script, but we got to get the video back. And but yeah, really her, like, couple of days ago, she's like, I'm having writer's block. Like, I need something to write about. You got it. Like, I need a story. I need a movie. I'm like pitching ideas up. So that's what my life. Yeah, that's what my life is at right now. Just kind of like, I've done it. It is always kind of cool. I was telling the story before we started. Like down at ICB on State Street in the studio, they will have like a little ticker to show the name of the shows, whatever like that. And I remember when Ken and our name was on there in the show. And we drove past there recently. I forgot where we were going. And I was like, yeah, Grace, I used to have the show name used to be right there. She's like, right there? She's like, I'm like, yeah, like, Daddy, were you famous? I'm like, hold on that. Like, not really. He's like, well, hold on. Some kid in her class found me on YouTube. And she was like, you was on YouTube? I'm like, are you on YouTube? I'm like, I think so. Like, yeah, my friend said they found you. I'm like, first off,
You're on a lot of stuff on YouTube.
I know I am, and I like TV and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff kind of trips her out now. She's 11 years old, so that kind of trips. That kind of stuff trips her out. So that's kind of cool in a sense. Kind of like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Talking about the stories and how much fun we had. And now I get and Ken does this, I'm sure, right now. Tony, you gonna do this eventually? Talk about things that you've done in your past. You can talk to about your kids. So that's always kind of cool, and that's what I'm like really looking forward to now in my life. Besides that, building shit,
Building more shelves.
building more shelves.
Terrific build case you got.
Thank you. I show y'all. I show y'all before y'all leave.
D
looked at it
could
already.
do a workout show. We could do this
lifting,
old house revival.
DIY. I'm about to build a rain gutter system in the backyard.
Shirtless DIY. Start your OnlyFans, D. Start your OnlyFans.
Yeah, just a whole
If one more person tell me start an OnlyFans, I'm not starting OnlyFans.
That's a moment didn't pass. Dirty D's DIY.
Dirty D's Home Improvement.
You gotta tell Grace, I was never famous, only infamous.
But no, man. I'm a creative person. I know I am, and some things kind of pop into my head, and I kind of like sit on it for a little bit. So I'm never going to count myself out. I'm never going to say I'm not going to do this again. I think I do have a talent. I could run my mouth a mile a minute. Kind of do that at work. That's kind of got me as far as I got right now. But like I said, man, I'm like y'all biggest cheerleaders right now. I'm enjoying watching y'all do y'all work. Anything pop on social media, if it ain't already there, I'm putting it there. Through the text line, just just encouraging everybody to do their thing. So that's where I'm at right now, man. I'm enjoying my life. Like I said, you all allow me to live my dream. I am content. I remember when I stepped away, we had a big Zoom call, and one thing that really stuck out to me was what Tony said. He's like, man, listen, I'm happy for you because you won't have any regrets. And that's always stuck with me, T. Because I have no regrets through all the ups and downs dealing with, not too many downs with us, but just kind of like doing all this was when starting a family, kind of like exactly where you at, T, when I was at, where I was at. Just getting married, just having a kid. Be frank, I wasn't around when Chanel was pregnant because I was doing all this stuff, so I missed out on her being pregnant. And then just kind of like having Grace just grow up, and I'm going 1,000 miles an hour, burning both ends of the candle. My wife is, kind of like, hey, I'm here, but you're not here, or Grace is here and you're not, that kind of thing kind of hit me, and that's why that's one of the main reasons why I stepped away. And but through all that, all the times in between, man, I had a fucking blast. I enjoyed myself. So I'm just kind of like, I can just kind of sit back and just enjoy all the, enjoy the good memories. As you said, like, no, we're not old, not in the long run. I mean, not in the longest effort, we're not old. But it's kind of cool just kind of sit back and watch sports and just be a fan, and not having to, like, worry about the stats and shit like that. I can just old man shit, sit down here in my basement and cuss at the TV and drink. So, I'm enjoying that. I like it.
We're
Then I go.
We're gonna do that in a few minutes.
Yeah. Hey, there we go. Yeah, go in the room, work out, come back out, go outside, build some shit. So, I'm enjoying myself, man. I'm really enjoying myself, and especially enjoying seeing my brother over here. I love it when I go on Instagram. It's like fucking J Hood or something like that. Look up, take a picture. Ken's on TV. I'm like, yeah, all right, it's my brother right there, man. Yeah, I'm gonna repost that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it brings a smile to my face, man, every time I fucking see it. So, but yeah, man, I'm enjoying life, and I'm living through y'all. I'm enjoying y'all life, and y'all doing y'all thing, and I'm like I said, I'm y'all biggest cheerleader right now.
And we'll leave it with you, Ken. I'm the under center football night in Chicago.
I know, right?
I don't know. We should have ended it with me. I have nothing. I'm giving out all the love. I don't want to just keep saying the same thing over and over again. You all know that I care about you, Saul. I just mean you, but I do care about you.
That's right, Saul.
Welcome
to the family, brother.
Thank you.
So that alone has like, I think he's a worker, a good worker, or whatever. So when you reached out to me, it was kind of like, yeah, I think he could do it, but don't fuck my name up. Look. Always, you can check out Tony Does Production. Tony runs all the podcasts on NBC Sports Chicago. You don't know, you can check him at Sports with Jason, and also with the Full Go Show with Jason Golf. You got to do all that stuff out there, Tony. Look, I'm on there 5:30 p.m. every Wednesday, wherever you watch your Bulls, your Blackhawks, your White Sox. They were supposed to take us off, but we've still been on there in the off season. No, I'm blessed.
That sound like D and Davis show. He supposed to been going a long time ago. We still going. You keeping the tradition going?
Flavor.
Yeah.
We gotta bring you on there, actually.
Hey, man, you know I'm always down.
We gotta figure out a way that we gotta give them the D and Davis show on NBC. Till you mess that up. I'm joking. Whenever, also, I am really joking whenever I say anything like that. I am very happy for my brother. I'm very happy for all of you guys, wherever you're at in your life. When you're feeling down, know there's people that care about you, even because sometimes we have the tendency to lie to ourselves and be like, it's just me, and it's not true. I tell my kids that. Don't do that to yourself. I know that's how you can feel. There are people that care about you, and there are people that need you, so please take care of yourself. I think maybe you'll hear me a little bit more. Just was on the score this week on Bernstein and Golf, and luckily Layla was there too, so I got all three. Bernstein
and Holmes.
Bernstein and Holmes. Sorry, thank you. I apologize. Bernstein, Holmes, and Layla. Our big bro Lawrence mentioned maybe more during the season coming on, so maybe
that's what's up.
That's dope.
You going to studio?
If they want
Like,
me.
man, I used to do a show here.
I was on Twitch.
Oh, he's on Twitch.
And he set it up so they could see me in the studio doing it.
Oh, good.
Right. He probably had something to do with that anyway. No,
that's what's up. But you can go into the studio like, man, I used to do this here.
Yeah, I mean,
I did a show here too.
Hey,
somebody called in and said we were the Black Panthers.
Hey,
you remember that? Who are these guys?
That damn Black Panthers.
That will always.
Area code 847.
I remember, and it's funny going back to something you said. I remember Jonathan Hood hitting me up and was like, man, y'all broadcasting all over the country, the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know that because you think it's overnight, nobody's listening. And we know how many people was listening.
Oh, yeah.
Also, shout out to the Grobbers, Les Grobsteins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout
to the Grobber, man.
Listeners.
God bless you, brother.
His listeners were
Rest
so
in peace.
kind to us. A majority of the listeners of the score were very kind.
They were.
Like, I'm
They
talking
were.
about. They
were great.
They were, yeah.
They knew we was coming back on and everything.
They were
They was
extremely
cool.
nice to us.
They were.
We appreciate you allowing us to come in and listening to us. That will always be something. Being a scorehead growing up, that will always be something crazy to achieve. To actually have been on the score for a few years, where at one point it looked like there was rumors in the streets we was gonna be the late night. I knew I couldn't get D to do it. But people was worried we was gonna be the late night host. I mean, it was. I'm not talking. It was through the streets. People was like, "Man, so y'all think?" I'm like, "I don't even know you."
Do you remember we went to go meet Mitch and somebody buddy was down there at the front desk? Gabe's brother.
Upstairs. It was upstairs.
Gabe Mendoza. He's like, "You all are D and Davis." I said, "Well, goddamn, I am." Yes, I am, sir. I'm like, Ken, he know us.
Big Courtney, big Courtney.
So you was famous, G.
Right.
I kinda was, I guess.
Big Courtney.
Don't
Was
tell
the
that to
first
Grace.
Person, Courtney Ford.
Yeah, Courtney.
Titus boy Courtney was the first person to do that. I was walking across the street to the studio.
Oh, I remember that.
He's like, you killed it. And look now, and I'll say this: that happens a lot now. Where and that's
King got to wear his glasses outside.
Now listen.
Where my hoodie at? He supposed to be
At first,
coming up to
at
me
first-
and talking about the Bears and shit.
Right. That's how I was. For a period of time, I was like that, right?
Yeah, I
But my
know.
mask wouldn't work.
It's all about the eyes, brother.
A dude, no, this is the key. A dude, I had my mask on, and a guy walked behind me before he got on the side of me. He's like, Gil Davis? I'm not, my back not turned when I'm doing them. Like,
I know that shape.
right. That's what Kenton said.
I know your shape. I know what you look like on TV.
Shout out to Josh Strock, Alex Shapiro, Claire Flippily, also Philippi. Claire, you know I love you. Shout out to them for making the Under Center go alongside with Tony. Shout out to all the listeners and the people that watch. We definitely appreciate you taking time out of our day. I'm not one to talk about who has the best show or podcast or anything like that, but numbers don't lie. Because we don't have to do that. Because it's enough space for
Oh,
everyone.
wait a minute. Who helped me real quick? Because my wife, shout out to Chanel, love you, baby. She was like, "Oh, I'm
Eric
excited."
Strobel.
Eric Strobel.
Shout out to Eric Strobel, who when D told me he was going to get Chanel a jersey of her favorite Chicago Bear player, which is Alex
Brown. Yeah.
I've never asked any athlete to do anything. So I want to let you know how much I care about y'all.
Thank you. I appreciate
Because
it.
people thought that was going to be like the news. I remember when she hung it up, I heard people in your background was like, oh, kid, go get me one. I'm like,
No. I'm like, no.
like that was because me. I mean, I know Strobes had to be like, oh, but I knew if you were gonna get her AB jersey, that it was a good chance I can get it. And also, Alex Brown is cool as shit.
He is cool. I met him before. He is cool.
Alex Brown is cool as shit.
The jersey's framed and hanging up in the office right
so
now.
shout out to Eric Strobel. Well, it was one part of the Under Center podcast when, unfortunately, Cam and JJ were let go. I was fortunate enough to finally meet Cam. I did know JJ. I always loved JJ. Happy JJ found his way with the
Stankovic?
Colts. Yep, JJ. JJ's the dude. But yeah, shout out to everybody.
Down in India.
He's Larry Meyer for the Colts.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's
Oh.
he's the head writer for Colts.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's him. But again, shout out to Michael Allardyce. Shout out to John Shipman and Kevin Anderson, and everybody at NBC who affords me the opportunities. Shout out to all the producers. Definitely my man Anthony Durunda, but all the producers down there who always look out. All the staff, Glenn Morgan.
Is my man Lou still down there? Lou, the floor director, TV floor. Lou.
Yeah, I think he's still there.
Yeah, he's my old teacher in my first school. Yeah.
Shout out to everybody who's the staff behind the cameras that keeps it running. You are much appreciated, even if I don't mention you now. And I mean, for the time being, that's where you're gonna find me at.
That's what's up.
I'm lucky enough to I'm there. We do good things over there. We're gonna have a great bear season, a better bear season. I mean to say. This year, and it'll be entertaining. So again, I'm not there without these men and more people and women along too. So always feel blessed. Always know that I'm blessed, but always know that you're all blessed. And anybody out there that's watching this, that you needed something like this.
Yeah.
We're happy if we gave you a little bit of light and a little bit of wind underneath your wings to push you out there because you're not too old.
Nope.
But you have to go after it, and you have to keep going after it. You're gonna fall. You got to dust yourself off and get back up and go attack. It sounds a lot easier to come out of my mouth than how hard you have to do it, but you have it in you to do it. But go after something. And
You're not too old. You're not too black. You're not too poor.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
too.
You're not too anything.
any of
disconnected.
those negatives.
Yes.
So you're not someone who you don't speak the English well enough. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't just have to be us. You're not someone who you don't have connections. We didn't have connections.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
We made our connections.
Yeah, and or you had a friend that made connections.
Yeah.
And friends.
Yep.
So you can find a community of like-minded individuals who generally have your best for you. in their hearts.
Yes.
You know, and if not, it starts here with us. You know, leave comments or whatever, and definitely they'll get back because I don't read comments.
Saul will get back. I may get back.
But but again, congratulations to Cal Means.
Yeah.
on his
Congrats,
new job.
Cuzzo.
Yeah.
Congrats,
Thank you,
Cuzzo.
gentlemen. Thank you.
To Tony and Stephanie on the baby.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Saul for graduating. Congratulations to
Yes.
Jason for going into writing.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to Josh with everything he's doing with the Bulls and the Bigs.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to our brother D for being happy and knowing to when to walk away. Because a lot of people are fearful or will think about, well, you know, what is it that what's the name said, Money Making Mitch says about man, I can't lead the game.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Oh.
You know, man,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't remember me.
Yeah.
Remember me. A lot of people, you know, because that's one thing I'll say. I think sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know, I could walk away from this, and I think about it sometimes like, yeah, I could walk away and I could feel like, yeah, that's straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make them miss you, right?
No, they owe me.
You gotta miss me.
They owe me way too much. But yeah, thanks for everyone who has played a part in any and everything that we've done. If we did not mention you, please don't. We feel no slight, because we truly do appreciate from WGN, from the Red Eye, from 670 to Score, from everyone. who's
ESPN
been-
1000.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to mention that. I apologize. ESPN 1000. Just anyone and everyone who's given us a chance, we thank you and we appreciate you giving us that opportunity and opening those. Also, shout out just real quick. Shout out to Lawrence Holmes, Jonathan Hood, and Jason Goff. Me being, you can say Dan Jiggers too, but being a brother, the doors that they pushed open, pulled, like made it so much easier for us to walk through.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
The big bros.
Yeah,
for
shout out
sure.
to them. And also the kindness. And this isn't, okay, I know that came off as just for the blacks, but the kindness from everyone throughout the industry.
Cheryl
of
Ray.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Deion
Cheryl
Miller.
Ray
Cheryl
Stout.
Ray.
Cheryl Ray is a home.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Cheryl Ray is the GOAT. Deion Miller.
Deion Miller.
Yes.
I mean, it can go on.
People didn't really have like any business like they
Rocking
could
with
have did
us.
something better with their Saturday
Yep.
Yes.
than hang out with
Oh,
us.
Yeah.
Right,
Like,
at
yeah.
10 a.m. in the morning on their
That's
off
it.
days.
Like,
Layla Rahimi
Layla
too. I mean,
Rahimi.
yeah.
We talked about the bigs. Shout out to everyone. I mean, there's so many guests who came on and didn't have to come on. And that's the thing. Like, it's so many people in this industry. I'll tell you this: I haven't met too many penises in this industry. I've met more like-minded people that they want to see
I
you
agree.
succeed too.
I totally agree.
You would think from the outside in, particularly in a city like Chicago, where, for instance, like back in the days with our hip hop scene, it was a crabs in the barrel mentality where it wasn't a cohesive kind of push. That's not how the sports or
No.
the media thing, from what I've been a part of, has been.
That was one of the best things that I think we both noticed is like it wasn't that.
Yeah, but-
Everybody was pushing each other
Yeah,
forward.
that was-
Everybody.
That's when there are people. Most people want to help you. Just go about it the right way.
Mhm.
Don't overexhaust too.
Mhm.
You know, that's another thing. You know, like if someone come on the show, that don't mean you got to try to make them come on like every month or every other week. Like, you know, get your reps. Like that's the thing too. I know a lot of time you want to be guest focused, and that's not bad. Do that, but get your reps in what you're trying to do.
Yep.
And get better at what you're doing, not just depending on asking someone a question. Make it that they're there because they want to hear what you have to say about what you're talking about. They want-
Sometimes you might be talking to yourself.
right?
But that's all right.
But yeah,
That's all right.
In that wind tunnel.
because
Yeah,
this
that's
is the
all
thing.
right.
It wasn't. My favorite sports show in Chicago, probably growing up, was the Monsters of the Midday. But all time is probably, of course, Boris and Bernstein. And it wasn't the breaking news that I cared about. And you're talking about two journalists, and Terry Boers and Dan Bernstein. It wasn't breaking news I cared. It was their opinion on what it was. So the point that I'm trying to say is, it's more important that I care about what you have to say than what somebody else has to say to a degree. Make it to where I want to know your opinion. Is the thing that I think that a lot of people need to, because a lot of focus now that I see, and I'm not knocking it because some people are doing big things, but people aren't getting reps and refining and trying to just, I want to hear what you got to say about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's it. That's all I have to say. Appreciate you giving me this opportunity. Appreciate all the love that you guys have spread. Be safe.
Yes,
safe.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, be safe down there.
Yeah, be safe. Be, you know that you like I say, you have value in your voice.
Yeah.
And, you know, just keep trying. If you don't think you're at where you're at, right, where you want to be, just keep trying. Just keep, you know, there's value in what you do. If you have that passion for it, keep going at it, because we can all attest to that. If we, you know, not giving up, not, you know, keep believing in ourselves, keep, you know, relying on the people who love you and support you, and, you know, it can get you a long way. It can get you somewhere where you want to be eventually. And you know, Ken said, we always out here to reach. You're gonna keep hearing from us. You're gonna keep seeing us in some manner. You know, we're gonna keep building. And you know, this is the team, man. This is the crew. We gonna keep it going another 10 years, and hopefully more than that going forward.
Yeah.
Well, but you didn't get to the check part.
The check.
It seemed like we was on Tucky, like you was about to say the money was coming.
Oh yeah, the bread is post dated.
Okay.
But
Grace's first movie will be We Are Riga Radio WARR production.
It's coming. We probably, you know, we probably gonna be like, you know, with the first generation of Corleones.
Hey.
But then the Michael
Afterwards, yeah.
Michael comes along and then really gets the family on. That's probably gonna be Grace. Probably be your kid. Probably
Ken.
Yeah. So you know, we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
But we still got more to say though.
Right.
We
Yeah,
still
we do.
got more to say.
One last thing for me, please, and I know it's become vogue today. Don't chase clout. That's it for me.
Yeah. Put in the work, man.
Be secure in who you are.
Yeah,
man.
put in the work.
It's fleeting. Put more into yourself. Don't chase clout, man. Like the things that people do. Like there's so many ways everything. Like, man, I can make money do this. I'll be like, that's just might would hurt my soul.
Yeah,
Like,
and think about your reputation, your stand. Like you don't want to play yourself just off of, like say, a little cloud, a little.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just stay true to yourself and you know, be real out here. Don't be no character. You know, doing whatever for a little fame, man, because that ain't worth it.
I would say you've done that. I thought that's what you.
I've thought about doing it.
Like, when did you do it? Let me know. I don't remember. I was like, damn, God. You had the OnlyFans?
Like I'm saying, sometimes I looked at our numbers at times and I was like, man, I may have to degrade myself.
Show a little shoulder.
It's not it.
Put that bare ankle out there.
It's not worth it though, and I'm glad I didn't go that route. But you know, I'm more glad that, you know, I got you guys, and that you know, anybody who supported us. Like I said, you know, we can't name everybody supported us, who showed us love, who's shared any of our content, who's recommended us to anybody. We know we appreciate you. Anybody who's listened to all this or watched this video, please leave your name under the YouTube. Well, this will be on YouTube, so leave your name under that, or leave it on, you know, whatever comment section we got. If you listen to this whole thing, I may give you a check. But
Get that Demonze separate.
yeah, but you know, thank you to everyone who showed us love over the years by collaborating with us, by doing whatever, and giving us good energy. And we appreciate you, and wish the best for you and in the years going forward. And yeah, we just gonna wrap it up here. I guess that's it. We got you looking at your watch already. We got other stuff we're gonna do. This is a wonderful Saturday.
Yes.
Here in Chicago, we're gonna take advantage of that. But this was for the record. This was for I'm trying to think of that word. Posterity.
That's how I was going to
Not
say
prosperity.
earlier.
This is for prosperity.
I was like, it's posterity, right? I was like, was I about to say prosperity?
It's for
I had to check myself.
It's for prosperity and posterity.
There you go.
But yeah, this is the 10th anniversary of WARR Media.
10 years.
Thank you.
Wait, time out. I got one.
What?
I was thinking, it's funny. I was in somebody's parking lot this week, and it's one of those ideas of like dumb ideas that people had in the crew. And I remember we were talking about doing an award show, and I remember thinking like, who the fuck are we?
Who said
Did
that?
we do
I
it?
didn't say that.
Did we do it?
This was
Like in D and Davis Awards?
No, it was WARR Riga Radio. It's like, yeah, we can give out. We do this. You know, we can bring so and so and give them awards. I'm thinking like, why would they show up?
Hey man, we had big dreams and big
I'm
ideas.
saying this is like year 2. Right. We're talking about we gonna have an award show.
Was it Sean? Was it Sean?
It definitely.
It was Sean.
That'd
be Sean.
That sound like
That'd be Sean.
shout out to Sean.
I love Sean.
Love you, Sean.
On that note.
On that note, we'll holler at y'all in year 20. Maybe we'll be giving out awards then.
No, 5 more years.
5 more years? We'll do
15, yeah,
maybe 15. We'll do 15. We probably won't be giving out awards then, but maybe 20 we'll be giving out awards.
Maybe we will receive some.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll work on
Yeah.
that first, getting the
Yeah.
awards, and then maybe
Before we start passing them out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is worth something.
But yeah, that's it though. Much love, much appreciation.
Yeah.
Peace
Hey,
out.
keep your hands to yourself.
Yes, sir.